Hey guys, welcome in. Happy Monday. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. You know what we do here, Indiana news, politics, and government. The likes you're not going to get anywhere else. And coming up on the show today, we got a big interview coming up here for you in just a little bit. Chuck Pullen, our guy from WJOB Radio, the voice of Hammond, Indiana, the voice of the region. He's going to be with us because there is so much on this Bears Stadium proposal that we are not getting down here. And look, I've said we are covering the Bears Stadium deal unlike anybody else because if it moves forward, it will be the largest act of corporate welfare in the history of the state of Indiana. And there are massive tax increases and there are massive ramifications. And look, we played the audio for you last week of Braun saying this is just about subsidizing the region. That's what this is all about at the end of the day. We will talk with the voice of the region, the voice of WJOB, Chuck Pullen, on why doesn't any of the government welfare for the region ever work? Could the stadium finally actually work? We'll find out here in just a little bit. But man, do we have a ton of stuff to get to. Yeah. We're going to get to the Mike Young stuff here in just a few minutes. But first, property taxes. Look, there is this proposal to get rid of property taxes in the state of Indiana and replace it with a 7% sales tax on services. Now, J.D. Prescott, the author of the bill, House Bill 1288, and we have been talking for a while now about how this bill would actually raise taxes on regular people. This bill, just like other bills, just like the sort of the standard operating procedure now for Republicans in the Indiana General Assembly, is cut taxes for the super wealthy, pass the taxes on to regular people. And that's essentially exactly what House Bill 1288, the property tax repeal bill, would do. And Abdul, over at Indy Politics, had a fascinating column this weekend where he basically took this bill apart. He basically exposed what this bill would do, which is what we've been saying it would do, which is it's a massive giveaway for mega corporations, for the super rich, and it's going to raise taxes on us. So I want to talk about it for a moment. Now, what Abdul did, and I'll read you part of this. You know, Abdul is he's a massive comic book fan. Many of you know this. And so Abdul wrote this in the vein of what this would do to the characters in Superman, the characters and the places in Superman. But so when I'm reading part of this, there's going to be references to Superman and Clark Kent and Metropolis and all of these other places. So when you're hearing, you're like, what is he talking about? That's what it is. But I wanted to read you part of what Abdul wrote because it really breaks down how this will raise taxes on regular people. And this is what you guys need to understand because this is what happened the last time with property taxes. The bill ultimately became about, not about us, not about savings for regular people, not about property tax reform for people who had seen their property taxes double or triple over 4 or 5 years, not a plan to get growth under control. It became about a giveaway for big business. It became a big business giveaway bill, and we're all going to end up paying the price for it. So here's what Abdul wrote. Under the plan, House Bill 1288, whose fiscal note is our record on appeal, property taxes vanish. That's true. They go away. They go away for everyone. Everyone is key, including the big businesses, the megacorps, the people with the 30, 40, $50 million buildings. Oh, property taxes go away for them as well. In their place, a 7% sales tax on services. Haircuts, landscaping, legal work, accounting, advertising, healthcare, and education are exempt. The Legislative Services Agency projects $13.3 billion to $15.4 billion in new revenue against roughly $11.6 billion in lost levies. Translation, you're currently collecting $11.6 billion in taxes. That balloons to upwards of $15.4 billion potentially. $4 billion, almost $4 billion in new taxes. $4 billion in new taxes under this bill as presented. Why would anyone be for that? Why would any rational person possibly say, yes, $4 billion in additional taxes for the government is a fabulous idea? Now, again, in this column, Abdul, and I won't read all of it, but I'm going to read one distinct part of this because I feel like in Abdul fashion, he laid it out pretty well. Regular people's taxes will go up as a result of this bill. And the super rich, the megacorps, their tax burden will go down. Now, remember, he's tying this all to Superman because that's what Abdul does. So here's what Abdul wrote, and I thought he laid it out pretty well. Wayne Manor and LexCorp's tower pay zero property tax forever under the bill, right? So, pick your favorite megacorp, right? Eli Lilly, Emphasis, whoever. They're paying, instead of Wayne Manor or the LexCorp, they're paying zero. The biggest windfall goes to whoever owns the most, and nobody owns more than Bruce. Barry saves the levy on his bungalow, then hands much of it back in a 7% tax on daycare, haircuts, and car repairs. Right, exactly. The megacorp, the rich guy, they're going to get potentially millions of dollars in savings. Oh, and who else? Data centers. They're going to get all of that savings, and it's not going to get passed back onto them. You, the regular person, yeah, okay, your property taxes, your $2,000-$3,000 a year, whatever you're paying, yeah, you'll get that savings, and then all the stuff is going to hit you, because the dirty secret in this, if this bill were to move forward, is that all the lobbyists are going to be vying for their thing to be exempt. It's going to be a fight for exemptions. You know who's not going to get exemptions? You. Not even the fastest man in Central City outruns a consumption tax. Lois, who owns nothing, saves nothing, and pays on everything. Exactly. Because now the onus is going to be on the apartment person. Like, let's say you live in an apartment. You pay property tax as a part of your apartment rental. Right? When I've always heard, well, renters don't pay property tax. Oh, bull. Renters pay more property tax than homeowners because it's 2% on rentals. Now, the onus then becomes on the apartment complex or the duplex owner or the homeowner that's renting to you to pass that savings back onto you in form of reduced rent. Do you think that's going to happen? I don't think so. Do you really believe that rent is going to go down if this bill passes? The answer is no. It's not going to happen in most places because there's nothing in this bill that requires it to go down. Lois, who owns nothing, saves nothing, and pays on everything. Exactly. So if you're a renter, you're probably not going to get any savings. At least if you're a homeowner, you'll get some savings. And then you're going to pay all the taxes on services. And when the next recession hits, service spending craters just as the steadiest tax in public finance is gone, while local officials, stripped of rate authority, wait by the mailbox for the state's checks. And Abdul goes into and does pretty well in this article about how the money gets collected, how the money gets redistributed. It's a disaster. Now, nobody is a bigger proponent of getting rid of property taxes than me. The key is property taxes for places where people live. And it has to be tied to some level of local government reform, which this is not. Look, I got a call on Thursday from a high-ranking elected official in state government. Will not, of course, name the person. They would be tarred and feathered, and they would be run out of the Statehouse. But we talked about this exact issue for quite a while. And this is what I told this person, because I said, well, what do you think about this? How can we actually reform the system? What can we actually do? Because quietly now, all of these elected officials are starting to acknowledge Senate Bill 1 sucks, which is exactly what we told you a year and a half ago when they were passing it. We said this is going to be awful. It's not going to fix anything. It's over the long term, not going to lower anybody's property taxes. It creates all these new taxing mechanisms, and it's just going to piss everybody off. And what's happened? We've now seen that most people are like, that's all I got in my savings? Oh, wait, now here goes my savings because of assessments going up. Oh, now all of these school corporations who certainly weren't going to accept any level of government reform are just jamming referendums through. Everything we told you about this bill is coming true. And there's no way these lawmakers didn't see it. It was done by design. What happened is very clear. It's abundantly clear. And we were telling you last year, a year and a half ago, this was what was happening. The government, the elected officials, the General Assembly was trying to figure out how to give the biggest tax break possible to their corporate friends, their big business friends, yet not disrupt local government. And so what they come up with? They said, well, if we just create all these new taxing mechanisms, we'll give the big tax cut to the corporations, which they did, the personal property tax reductions. And then the local governments can enact all these new taxes, and then we'll say, well, don't blame us, blame the local governments. And it's exactly what's happening. What is happening now in our state is what the General Assembly designed to happen. And I told this person that I talked to on Thursday, I said, there are three issues. Like, if you are serious, I said, if you are serious about actually reforming property taxes, there are three issues that have to be resolved before you can ever actually fix property taxes. There's structural issues that you can't fix anything until you resolve these three things. And until you do, nothing's ever going to change. And I said, I won't believe anybody actually wants to fix property taxes until these three things get addressed. Here's what they are. Number one, local governments have to be reined in. And we have to be willing to say, as a state, they're wasting money left and right. We have to be willing to say out loud that local governments are totally out of control. Right now, we're not willing to do that. Right now, we act like, hey, local governments are funding hotels and reflexive pools and hockey stadiums and basketball stadiums. Hey, local school corporations have 4 field houses and 2 football fields and $12 million on tennis courts. All of this stuff, we act like it's okay. Until the government, the state, is willing to say these people are out of control and they have to be stopped, nothing's going to change. Because every tax cut that you give someone is going to mean someone else ends up paying more, because there's nothing in any of these bills that mandate the local governments stop. So until the opening salvo from the General Assembly, the governor, whoever, is that local governments are out of control and we have to stop them. And the way we're going to stop them is choke off their revenue. And again, we're not talking about educating kids or streets or sidewalks, fixing streets or sidewalks, or police or fire. Carnival paid for a hotel. Reflexive pool, people on the street. Westfield, how many millions of dollars on tennis courts? Stadiums in Noblesville and Fishers, athletic stadiums. That is not day-to-day operations of government. That is grandiose. It's excess. Swimming pools, rec centers, amphitheaters. This is not day-to-day operations of society. And yet we refuse to say the obvious. They are spending this money because it's given to them. Not because they need it, but because they want it. That's the first thing. We have to start from the premise and say it out loud and operate from the top on down that local governments are totally out of control. Number two, you cannot have a system. This is what I told this very high-ranking elected official. And you guys would be amazed at the people I have conversations with. You cannot have a system that bases your bill on what some other guy sold his house for. That's insane. Kamala Harris proposes it on taxes on unrealized capital gains, and we go ballistic. We call her all the things, the ist, the this, the that, and we should. You're taxing something somebody has not monetized. It's it's gross, but there's no way to fix a system in which that's your revenue source. So number one, we have to acknowledge out loud that local governments are totally out of control. They're spending money unwisely. They're wasting money on things that are not day-to-day operations of society, and we need to stop that. Number two, we have to acknowledge that it is unfair and unjust and insane to tax someone based on what some other guy made profit. And number three, and this is the most important one, and this is what I told this person. I said, as long as a government entity can put a referendum on the ballot whenever they want, everything else is a giant waste of time. You cannot have a tax system that is pro-taxpayer when local governments can bypass the cap anytime they want. Every single community in our state, and now we're seeing it. It's going to be more than just the school. See Lebanon going for this referendum with the police station. The local governments are saying the rules don't apply to us, and they can whenever they want, as long as referendums exist. There is always that giant boulder hanging over everyone's head. That as long as the local governments, the schools, the cities, the towns, the counties, whoever, as long as they don't like whatever money they get, that they can go for a referendum with no ramification whatsoever. And so I said, as long as you have referendums, you'll never fix the system, because these government entities will always go for the referendums, and they'll get them eventually. They wear people down. That's what happens. They wear people down. Maybe you beat it once. Maybe you beat it twice. The idea that you're going to win 3, 4, 5 times, which school systems or any government entity can do when they want something without any ramification, it's just not going to happen. Until we address those 3 issues, and look, I'll put my track record of property tax reform, of lowering property taxes, and quite frankly, understanding property taxes up against anybody in the state. Nobody knows this stuff better than me, guys. And these are the 3 issues that until they are acknowledged and until they are addressed, everything else that we're doing is dinner theater. And anytime you quote unquote cut property taxes for someone, you're forcing someone else to pay more. The 3 things again, you have to acknowledge that local governments are totally out of control. You cannot have a system that raises revenue, that raises taxes based on what some other guy sold his house for. And third, as long as a government entity can put a referendum on the ballot, this will never stop. These things have to be acknowledged, they have to be addressed, and they have to stop. J.D. Prescott's bill to get rid of property taxes doesn't do any of that. Yes, it makes property taxes go away. But what about the referendums? You can't, they've already bonded around those. You can't make them just go away. So now you're going to have, and by the way, Prescott has finally acknowledged publicly, he didn't want to do it for a long period of time. We called him out, and he finally is. There's a period where there's double taxation in this bill. There's a period where you're getting the service tax and the property tax. You know who the big winner in this is? Government. Now, the state is actually the big winner because the state starts deciding where the money goes and how. But it doesn't address any of the issues. It creates more money for local governments. More money. Government has been allowed to be bad because we keep feeding the beast. We keep throwing money at it. We keep saying, here, catch. This bill that Prescott has presented, and again, nobody's more in favor of getting rid of property taxes than me, but you cannot replace it with something that makes the problem even worse. I know. I've been a local elected official. I've seen how bad it is. This bill does not do that. Abdul had a good piece on it. We encourage everybody to head over to Indie Politics to read the piece after you're done with today's show. Unless, of course, you can multitask. Then by all means, have at it. Hey, do you guys have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence, locally owned. They pride themselves on customer service. Kelly and Jeff, they're the owners. I know they told me just the other day, said we picked up one of your listeners. They had been trying to get a hold of the big guy. They couldn't get a response. They called us. Bam. They heard about the ad on your show. Boom. We were on it. They got 3 dogs themselves. They used the product, and they loved it so much they bought the business. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products, designed and manufactured in the United States with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. 317-862-6606. Mention the Rob Kendall Show, and you get $200 off. $200 off just by mentioning the Rob Kendall Show. All-American Dog Fence, 317-862-6606. All right, couple of announcements, then we'll get back to the program. And yes, coming up here a little bit later on in the show, Mike Young's getting his. Mike Young is getting his. Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, it's coming. Stick around for that. Tell your friends. It's going to be a good one. But first, don't forget, robkendallshow.com is our website. Lots of great things going on over there. We got the live link, all the on-demand links. If you're like, I wonder if we're on such and such a platform. What's the link to get Rob on Apple? All the places, robkendallshow.com. We have articles each day. We post from our favorite segments that we do here on the Rob Kendall Show. And of course, perhaps most importantly, we have a support button. If you like what we do, you're like, damn, listening to Rob crap all over Mike Young was awesome. I shouldn't get that for free. I should contribute. RobKendallShow.com support button. Thanks to our pal, super supporter, loyal listener, very generous of the show, Tony, who hit the support button over at RobKendallShow.com. Also, big announcement. Save the date. Saturday, October 3rd. There's a big party at John Russ's house, and he is inviting all the listeners of the Rob Kendall Show to attend. John has a very fabulous house in Seymour. I'd hate to see what his property tax bill is. I should look that up sometime. I bet it's larger than mine. Look, all of you on the Rob Kendall Show, you're invited. October 3rd. There's going to be patriotic music. It's celebration of America's 250th birthday. And by the way, it's Jason's birthday. October 3rd is Jason's birthday. I think he's coming, even though it's his birthday. And you can bring him a present for all that he's done, for this show, for humanity, all the stuff. Look, it's a celebration of America's 250th birthday. There's going to be patriotic music, an antique car show, lunch, catered by Double D's, fabulous sponsor of the Rob Kendall Show. I'm going to give a little speech about how awesome our country is and a whole lot more. Plus, it's Jason's birthday. He accepts cash, gift cards, life advice, whatever. And it coincides, guys, October 3rd with the Seymour Oktoberfest. So after you're done with the fabulous event, there's still plenty of other things to do. John would love for you to be there. Event starts at noon. It's going to be an awesome time. Coming up, hopefully later this week, we're going to have a way for you can RSVP. It's a great chance for John to say thanks to you, the fab. John keeps saying thanks to other people for stuff that he does. That's the way Rust works. But he wanted to get everybody together from the Rob Kendall Show, October 3rd. Save the date. John Rust, of course, the sponsor of the third hour of the Rob Kendall Show. Guys, stick around. I'm going to roast Mike Young. I am going to flame Mike Young. It's going to be glorious. We got Braun suspending the gas tax. We got Braun saying crazy stuff on redistricting. What he admitted on television is unbelievable. We've got a million things to get to today. Nobody does Indiana news, politics, and government like us. But we're going to take a break. When we come back, Chuck Pullen from WJOB, the voice of the region, going to be with us. Guys, the Bears thing is so big. This is such a massive issue, and nobody down here is talking about what's actually going on up there, about how the people feel up there, about what's going on the Illinois side of things. Chuck Pullen, he's all over it. They talk about it day in and day out up there. We're going to give you a breakdown on the latest about all the gory details, about all the costly details, and Why doesn't anything ever actually reform the region? Braun's now admitted that's what this is. It's taking money from us and giving it to the region. All of that and more. Stick around. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
It is the Rob Kendall Show. There's so much drama going on with the Bears. Let's try to make some sense of it. We got a guy. He's the voice of the region, the voice of Hammond, Indiana, the morning man extraordinaire, WJOB in the region. The great Chuck Pullen joins us now. Chuck, hello.
Good morning, buddy. How are things down there?
So look, nobody's got the pulse of the region like you. You joined us, several weeks ago now. You said, I think they're jumping the gun on this, welcoming the Bears to Indiana. And then the governor has kind of come out and said exactly that. He's like, well, okay, there's nothing in writing. It seems like you were right, Chuck. There ain't nothing in writing.
Right. No, I mean, again, like I said from the beginning, I know like a lot of people like yourself have said, Chuck, how do you rectify this? The governor, everybody's saying it's a done deal. It's like, you guys don't know how it works up here. It's a little bit different, especially Chicago politics. We've been through this before when they were going to be the Munster, Indiana Bears. So like I said, I mean, this is far from a done deal. And I think as things progress, you're going to see a lot more sort of backroom deals, backroom shenanigans along the way. And I think at the end of the day, everybody in our state's just going to have egg on their face.
Okay, so let's start with Thursday. I guess that was the last time I worked. Yeah, it's been so long. Thursday, we played a clip of Braun on my former employer, and he finally admitted out loud, yeah, okay, this is going to be a big old subsidy that everybody's going to pay for, but it's for the region, and we got to help the region. Chuck, it seems like we've been trying to help the region for like 20 years. You've been up there the whole time. How's the help from the state been going with the region?
Oh no, it's kind of like that brother-in-law that's always got a good idea, like, hey, I'm going to start an emu farm or something. Yeah, we appreciate the money, but it hasn't really gone as far. Again, going back to that joke I always say about everything's transformational. You guys have spent billions of dollars up here on transformational projects. None of them have seen their way to be successful, and then we just move on to the next project. But we definitely appreciate it. We get lots of jobs and lots of construction out of the deal, so we appreciate it. But yeah, it just these projects never accomplish what they promise.
Why? Why does it never seem to work?
Because of the politics. I mean, it reminds me a lot of when I start watching, you've been watching any of this stuff about like the California high-speed rail, where even the guys who thought of it were like, hey, turns out this was a bad idea because the politicians got a hold of my idea and wrecked it. It's the same kind of idea. These ideas like even the train, something that I railed against, pardon the pun, for years. Like this was a great idea 50 years ago before the internet and people actually went downtown. And so it's sort of like this thing where we took a good idea, we took so long to accomplish it, it was no longer a good idea. Whether you're talking about the third airport at Gary, you're talking about the train. It's ironic the train opened, right after COVID when nobody was riding anymore. Like all these ideas have a little bit of substance, and then government just manages to put so many roadblocks in front of them and just ruin them along the way that they just no longer make sense.
Chuck Pullen, our guest, WJOB Morning Man up in Hammond. Okay, so Porter County has come out now, or at least part of Porter County's government, because part of the funding depends on them approving this food and beverage tax. And Biggs, who's one of the commissioners up there, basically said, what's in it for our people to do this? The stadium's going to Lake County. Why would we raise our taxes? I said on Thursday, I'm all in with this dude. What say you?
No, absolutely. I mean, we see that a lot, but one of the other things I'd say, going back to like the train and stuff like that, is there were many communities and different groups that said, hey, we don't see the benefit of this. And then the state just created its own House bill and said, well, that's fine. We're just going to proactively take the money from you anyway. So, I mean, again, at the end of the day, good luck, Porter County. But again, this is how the region works. You don't want the tax? Sorry, several shadow government unelected entities above you are gonna redirect your money anyway. So regardless of how it works out, I think Porter County is along for the ride.
You think they're going to be forced into it?
I think that again, we've seen this before, like with casino money and stuff like this. I think we're going to have sort of, as I always call it, the voodoo economics. Somebody's going to shuffle some money around and go, hey, Porter County, that's great, but we're going to find the money somehow and we're going to take it from you. So I would not be surprised if somehow we take money from Porter County, whether they like it or not.
Because Biggs made a great point. He said, well, and I made this argument for years with Hendricks County, where I live, with Lucas Oil Stadium. What do I get out of this?
Right.
Like it's ludicrous to say, oh, well, people are going to the Taylor Swift concert, so they're going to stay at a Brownsburg hotel. And it's like, okay, even if they do, still, what do I get out of this for my tax increases? I was pleasantly surprised at how at least one county is finally speaking up like, well, getting anything out of this.
Right. Well, but again, even here in Lake County, there's 19 different municipalities, and we're putting this in the far northwest corner of the county. So the same argument can be made for, 16 or 17 other communities here in Lake County. Like, what do we get out of this? I'm on the far end of the county. What am I getting out of this? Right. I mean, so same question is, what are we getting out of this? And so again, the benefits seem to, even when you look at, they say how beneficial this is going to be even for Chicago because it's so close to Chicago. It's sort of like, Hammond's it's like a neighborhood, it's still going to benefit Chicago. That's the same thing with our train project and things like that. They put them in the far northwest corner to benefit Chicago, but then the rest of us are like, hey, how does this really benefit us?
Chuck Pullen is our guest, morning show host extraordinaire, WJOB up in Hammond. Some people say, like, Rob, you spend a lot of time on the Bears. To me, this is just a massive story that I feel like we covered enough. I mean, it would be the largest act of corporate welfare in our state's history if this is approved.
So far. So far.
I just feel like I don't think it's gotten enough coverage. Am I way off on that?
Well, no, I mean, but again, going back to other projects that you've spent $1 billion on here in the state. I mean, the train project was $1 billion, $300 million on this convention center, probably damn near $1 billion on the airport. So again, to me, this is just another long line of succession going all the way back to when you start talking about these, like, think about the canal project that, stuff like that. Like, this state has a long history of bad ideas and basically, throwing lots of money at a project that damn near bankrupts us. So this wouldn't be the first time, and it probably won't be the last time.
But anything reform the region? Like, what would it actually take?
I had this conversation with a U.S. district attorney years and years ago. I said, there's one thing that would fix this: RICO. Just saying. I asked him, I said, what would it take to RICO the region? He kind of laughed it off. I said, no, I'm serious. Can we just RICO everybody and, let the court sort it out? I mean, honestly, that's what it would take.
Is the corruption so great up there that no matter what economic development project you put up there, it's going to get sabotaged?
And here's the thing. We always talk about this. We used to go back years and years ago, like when I first got started in radio, we used to have what was called Indictment Friday, because no joke, there was somebody being indicted every single Friday. And so they literally had Indictment Friday. One of the former radio hosts on WJOB, the preacher who passed away, used to have the wheel of indictment. He'd spin a wheel on his show to see who's going to get indicted next. Because I mean, literally, if you don't know this, even, you know, that like the Lake County Republicans at last year's county fair, their tent was the Hall of Shame with like 75 people that were indicted here in Lake County. Randy Niemeyer, who ran for Congress, that was his idea. And they had the Wall of Shame because literally dozens and dozens of people have been indicted, and a lot of times it's because of projects. They're in the middle of a project and somebody decides, hey, I'm going to double bill you for, dirt that we never actually got. So, I mean, a lot of these projects, somebody ends up going to jail or somebody's cousin gets a contract or something like that happens. So to me, I mean, again, is it even, a lot of people ask this question, is like, is it corruption or is it like just vast ineptitude? And sort of, it's hard to tell sometimes. It's like, are we just that corrupt or are we just that dumb? And it's kind of hard to tell in the region.
This project has, I said this on Thursday, very South Bend vibes to me, in which South Bend, it's not exactly your neck of the woods, but it's
no,
close
I get it.
Where it's like the football stadium's gorgeous, the college campus is gorgeous, the stuff around the campus is gorgeous, the hospital campus is fine, everything else sucks. Like this has that feel to me, where it's like, okay, there'll be this one area that's really nice, and then everything else around it is complete garbage. This is your home. How do you see it playing out if it does?
Well, here, let's use the example of, I know you want to talk a little bit about the Site B discussion that's been coming up lately. We had sort of the Site A on Wolf Lake, and now there's this discussion about the second site that they've been doing drilling and testing, which is a little bit further south, but in the same area, the same neighborhood, but a little bit further south. I mean, literally a giant chemical factory is there, a tank farm. There is a U.S. Defense storage facility where guys, I've heard off the record that this place had at one point stored some really nasty stuff. And it's kind of like, people that don't believe me, I'm like, look, it's the region. If the Army has something nasty to store, they're like, hey, just throw it in the corner of the region. Nobody will notice. So, I mean, again, even this Site B is, everywhere that we look, you talk about slag heaps and chemical factories. Like everywhere you drill in the region, you're going to find, remnants of something in the past, whether it's slag from the steel mills or chemicals or whatever. I mean, even that neighborhood, did I ever tell you about like even Wolf Lake, this area where they want to propose a stadium was like a mafia dumping ground. The Capone used to dump bodies. Literally, they would dig up bodies where, I mean, this is where they used to dump bodies because it was so remote. So, I mean, again, this area that you're talking about, it has a lot of colorful history. And of course, like to me, it's like, why? Yeah, perfect place. Put it literally on an old dump that the mafia used to dump bodies on. So again, the same idea. It's like, you're kind of, in a way, you're cleaning up sort of some of our history, but also you're sort of pigeonholing yourself. This isn't like, this pristine lakefront property. This is like literally, a hazardous chemical dump that you want to build the stadium on, which to me is just comical.
Okay, so if you're the Bears and you were faking, because you and I still believe this, and I want to ask you about the Illinois side of stuff here in a moment. By the way, Chuck Pullen, WJOB, is our guest. If you were faking, wouldn't you pick a cleaner site, for lack of a better term, than like if you're the Bears? Like if you're trying to psych out the Illinois General Assembly, they have to know what these sites are, right?
No, sorry, Rob. Hazardous chemical dump site is best we can do here in Lake County. But I mean, again, you're right. I mean, that's why, like, even for Gary, there were spots around the lakefront. There were spots along 8094. There were other spots that could have been proposed. There's a spot where 8094 meets I-65 that they've been trying to do something with for like 50 years. That could have been a site as well. So, I mean, again, I think there's something strategic about, hey, we're going to put this in. I mean, literally, if you look at Site B, it is on the border. The border goes through Site B. So it's like this idea where somehow Chicago feels better about this plan because it's literally next door to a Chicago neighborhood. So I don't know. That's always sort of played into it for me, is like, that's why, this idea that, oh guys, it's only, you take the Skyway, $15, 12 minutes later. I drive downtown every day. Nothing is 12 minutes away. So this idea of like, you just jump on the Skyway, pay your $15 and you're there. in 10 minutes. It's like this idea. It's again, one of those things where, they're selling the people on this bill of goods, where if you're not paying attention and you sort of just read cursory headlines, you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But when you dig deeper, again, pardon the pun, you're like, none of this makes sense.
Mayor. And I think McDermott's a moron, but you got to deal with him all the time. That's your home base up there. He was at that city council meeting, and he was basically like, "Oh, I know there's some concerns about the environment, but the Bears are on it, and the Bears are experts because they've got millions."
Yeah, the Bears are the experts in hazardous waste. I mean, I know the team's bad, but come on. I'll give you a sneak peek. I've been redecorating my office with some new posters. So like, here's one of the ones I just got the other day. Future headlines. Mayor more confident than ever that the Bears are coming to Indiana. So stuff like that. I can't wait. I'm going to have a whole wall of these someday, of all these. Mayor guarantees the Bears are coming. Like Dewey defeats Truman. Basically that's what I'm going to have on my wall someday. They are just that go ahead.
Say, but if you're the mayor, I don't care how bad you want the team. You get up in front of your city council and you're like, well, the Bears are experts. They've got a lot of money. It'll be fine. Like, I don't know. I would think the safety of your residents would supersede the fact that the Bears might build a stadium there.
Yeah, we're used to that. Right. Well, we're used to it. I grew up literally playing baseball on a giant lead heap in East Chicago. So we're pretty much used to it around here. But again, it's interesting though, you bring him up because he said he was on WJOB not long ago. And he said, I'm basically staking my job on this. Like even he made jokes about Taylor Swift. He said, if I'm wrong, I'm going to lose my job. So, I mean, there's big stakes for him. It reminds me again, I don't know if you guys know the story like of Mayor Daley in Chicago. He bet everything on Chicago getting the Olympics back, 20 years ago. Like same idea. He bet his whole career on getting the Olympics and it didn't happen. He's like, okay, I didn't get the Olympics. I'm retiring. So, I mean, this to him has become, this is like Captain Ahab and the Bears have become his Moby Dick. I mean, really, that's how it's feeling.
Do you believe, and then I want to get to the Chicago side of things or the Illinois side of things. Do you believe this stadium, if it goes in as they said, whether it's site A, site B, whatever, could it transform the area, or does it just become another casino or any of the other projects that have been done up there?
No, it becomes yet another transformational project in between several other transformational projects. So are there benefits to some people? I mean, even, they've gone so far as to say, yeah, there's winners and losers. But I think the people in the neighborhood, I think small business owners like myself, I think we're the losers, and the people who get the construction projects, the people that get, the deal to build the hotel there or the restaurants there's going to be winners, and they're going to be somebody's cousin, and the rest of us are the losers, because that's historically how it works here in Lake County.
Okay, so now here's where I'm fascinated. This is where you've got to just take the wheel here. I have tried my best. I try to follow all these Illinois reporters. There seems to be zero urgency from the Illinois General Assembly. The governor was like, well, there's two bills. The Bears need to just merge them together, tell us what they want, and I'll call a special session. I've never heard that before, where the governor tells a private for-profit business, just take the bills, merge them together, you get the votes, I'll call the special session. What in the world is going on with Illinois?
Well, I mean, look, not only are the Bears experts at land remediation, they're also legislative experts. I don't know if you know this. I mean, again, but again, you're right. At the end of the day, it's like, hey, just let the Bears write the bill. It's like, you're basically admitting something that we already know about our government is you just let the consultants and whoever just write the bills and then we'll just sign them. So, I mean, again, at least he's being honest about it. He's like, yeah, just let them write their bill and then we'll sign it. No problem. You get the votes. I mean, how is it any different than how the rest of government works? Really, though, if you think about it, it's like, hey, you write the bill. It benefits you. You get the right people to sign off on it, and we'll vote on it. I mean, again, how is this any different than how Washington works, really?
I've never heard that out loud, though, where he literally said, or at least it appeared he was saying, well, there's two bills, they're competing. The Bears need to tell us what they want. And then if they can get the votes, I'll call the session to get the votes. Like I've never, I mean, I get the shenanigans happen behind the scenes, but I've never heard somebody say it out loud like that.
Is it weird though? I mean, again, I'm not a big sports guy, but it's weird how both sides, even like when I've had these conversations, we had the lieutenant governor on and I brought this up. I'm like, how do the Bears get, like, even this idea, like if I had a factory, there's nothing I can do as a private business owner, like building a factory, promising hundreds of jobs. There's nothing I could do to get the same deal out of the state of Indiana that the Bears would get. On the same token, like in the state of Illinois, like how is it that a football team gets a deal better than, even like Amazon or any, it's weird to me. Is it really, that name? Is it that prestigious that everybody's willing to bend over backwards for you? I mean, and they're not even creating a lot of jobs. I mean, how long a stadium gets used, 10 times a year, and then maybe you got some ancillary stuff. It's not like you're creating thousands of jobs. You're creating a couple hundred jobs of guys selling hot dogs. Like it's weird to me how politicians everywhere bend over backwards for stadiums. And this is not unique to Chicago. This is a national thing.
Well, this is what's wild about it is now at least they've gotten off because for a while they were like, oh, there won't be that many tax increases. And they were like, oh, it's just for the people of the area. Now at least they're kind of admitting, or Braun did. I don't know if he remembers he admitted it or not. But you mentioned Beckwith, who ran against this crony corporate stuff. He's all on board with it. There's like nobody pushing back on this. And I'm like, how is nobody other than Daniel Elliott, the state treasurer, appears to be the only guy saying something about it? No Republicans are like, yeah, sure, billions of dollars for a multi-billion-dollar corporation that, as you said, Chuck, are not going to create that many jobs and only play. They're the Bears, so don't count on any playoff games. 9, 10 times a year, and the Republican-controlled government is just like, sure, let's do it. It'll be great.
Well, and again, that's interesting. I mean, even when you look at any of the studies, most people that are legitimate will tell you the costs outweigh the benefits, especially lately with new stadiums. So, I mean, again, they don't even really have, when you talk about fiscal conservatives, they don't really have a leg to stand on where it's like, hey, look at all of these studies that say how great stadiums are for the community. Like nobody, there's no real evidence anywhere that says that this is a great financial deal for us.
You have a theory that something big's going to happen soon on the Illinois side of things. I mean, because there's like zero urgency from the Illinois people. The Speaker of the House was like, that'll work out. It'll be fine. The governor's like, the Bears can write the bill. It'll be fine. Like there appears to be zero urgency. You have a theory something big's going on. What do you think it is?
I use the example as I was thinking about it. And again, you're a new father. You kind of understand this, the idea of when your toddler is being way too quiet, you have this moment of, oh no, what are they destroying? What are they painting? What are they coloring the walls with? So, I mean, it's the same kind of idea. There's this weird sort of just summer lull. There's this weird sort of just silence coming out of the Illinois state legislature. Like you said, it's like they're trying to play it so cool. Like, and I use the example of the little kid who pretends to run away. I think your analogy is like the girlfriend that threatens to leave or whatever. It's the same kind of idea. Like they're trying to play it so cool because again, somebody has to blink. And right now, nobody's blinking. And again, they just keep pushing like, oh, we're going to send another drill to Indiana. We're going to have another press conference. You know what I mean? Like both sides are waiting for the other one to fold. And I think at the end of the day, Illinois is very stubborn, but they will fold. And it will be, again, sort of on some, and a lot of people like in Indiana, like, Chuck, don't you understand this is a done deal? But then people like you that pay attention, like, there's no deal. There's no contract. There's a lot of hyperbole. I'm packing my bags. I'm walking out the door. Here I go. But there's nothing in paper. There's nothing on paper because if there was, there would have been a big press conference, which like, hey, here's our shovels and here's our contract and let's do it. We're as close as you can get to having a deal without having something that would send you to court for breaking. You know what I mean?
Why don't they just sign the deal? They're not going to get a better deal than the one in Indiana. What is the holdup about not just doing the deal? I mean, whatever Chicago comes up with, you look at both of those bills, they're not, I mean, from a pure just here's money, take it. The Indiana's the better deal.
No, but that's the thing. I mean, I think they're literally standing at the door saying, it's kind of like, hey, the new boyfriend's out in the car waiting for me. Here's your last chance, like last best offer. I think because at the end of the day, here's what we don't talk about. They are sitting on, what is it, a $300 million site or whatever it was at Harlingen Heights. You're not going to sell that. It's not like flipping a house. There's not many people. We already have plenty of Amazon distribution warehouses in Chicagoland. What are you going to do with that $300 million parcel if you walk away from it? I mean, again, at the end of the day, for them, chump change, but you still have that hanging over you of like, hey, we did commit, we bought this property that nobody's going to want, last best offer, otherwise we're stuck with it. So that's kind of my thinking on that.
You talk to the people. What is the feeling of the people? Do they want it? Or like, I'm the folks, I'm not talking about like the politicians, the folks. Do the folks want the stadium?
It's still mixed. I mean, I think there's still a lot of people that are sort of the, there's a lot of people that get, as we call it, the big shiny object sort of thing. It was like, oh, it would be so cool to have the Bears in the neighborhood. And I go, okay, but what about the 50,000 cars? Well, what about the people? What would that do to the community? What about, again, like, it rained again over here and we've had flooding again, the south side of Chicago, Northwest Indiana flooded again. It's like, hey, the big shiny object is cool, but let's take a step back and let's think about what that would do to traffic. Let's think about what that would do the infrastructure. What kind of, how much are we going to have to spend to remediate this site? We're going to have to reroute, we're going to have to reroute the toll road. Like, what is this going to look like? Big picture. Like, hey, it's cool. The Bears are like in your neighborhood, but what is the big picture here? And I think a lot of people that are, if you're close enough to see that site, you get that. But kind of everybody else that's, a few miles removed, like, oh, it'll be so cool. It's like, yeah, because it's not going to affect your life or your commute.
The Illinois people go to Indiana, or the Illinois people going to be out?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, as long as we put a fireworks store next to the Bear Stadium, I think, and some gas stations. I mean, again, honestly, like that neighborhood, you should have seen it the other day. There was lines of cars for miles coming from Chicago to buy fireworks in that neighborhood because that's what happens around the 4th of July. So that's what that neighborhood is known for. Cheap gas, because you guys don't get this. Like people from Chicago, they love coming right over the border to that neighborhood for fireworks, gas, cigarettes, etc. Even now gas is literally like $2 cheaper right over the border here in Indiana. So, but again, like, yeah, they already kind of do come there because of the, the cheap gas and stuff.
So there wouldn't be some big protest like the Bears are ours, you took them from us, we're out, right? Like the Chicago people, the Illinois people will come.
I think there would be like this, sort of faux outrage, but I think at the end of the day, again, they'll see the nice, shiny new stadium. Because again, you look at Chicago fans, they've been promised a new stadium for 50 years now. And they got that UFO. They're still, think about it. If you're a Bears fan, even when I worked with the Bears, you'd be outside on the lake. It's like 10 below zero. You're miserable. That nice, warm, shiny new dome stadium is going to look awful nice for somebody who's had season tickets for decades and had to sit out in the snow. So for them, it's like, hey, it's in Indiana, but it's inside and we'll get cheap gas on the way home. So, to them, I don't think they really care that much other than the fact that you're going to spend $30 in tolls to get here.
Well, that was my question. And I'm a total nostalgic homer for everything. And I became a Bears fan like a Cubs fan. My grandfather used to hitchhike from Terre Haute up to Chicago, where his aunt lived. He'd go to Wrigley Field. He went to go see high school football games at Soldier Field. And so that's how I became a Cubs fan and a Bears fan. And from the nostalgia point, obviously the economics of it, but I don't want them here because I want Chicago to have the Bears. Look, I hate the politics of Chicago, but there's something very addictive about Chicago sports, and I don't want the Chicago to lose the Bears. I don't.
Well, you use the example of if we were talking about Wrigley Field and the Cubs moving, I think it'd be a whole different nostalgia ball game. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of people, when they sort of ruined the stadium, whatever it was, 20 years ago now, whatever it was, that nostalgia kind of went away. It did not have the same feeling as, that old Coliseum that it used to have. So, I think a lot of people have just sort of, and again, the idea that when you go there, everything's so expensive, they gouge you on everything. So I think even in their mind, like this idea of, okay, well, maybe it'll be, maybe a beer won't be $20 if it's in Indiana. Maybe for them, they're like, okay, I can take it. Again, it's indoors and maybe it'll be cheaper to go to a game because right now it's, like I was using the statistic, most people, like even in Lake County, like 20% of this county, it would cost them a month's salary to go to a Bears game at this point. So even if they make it slightly more affordable, more people might be like, hey, I can't afford to go to Bears. Maybe it'll be cheaper. I don't know. Again, me just sort of speculating on that.
He is the voice of the region. He is our voice of the region here on the Rob Kendall Show. Chuck Pullen, WJOB, you are the best. Thank you, my friend.
Well, I have a feeling we'll be doing this again soon because I have a feeling that we are very close to some sort of news from Chicago. It's been the toddler has been far too quiet. I think there's going to be something coming out very soon.
Chuck, you're the best. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All American Dog Fence. All American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the Central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're having a great Monday. Mike Young, old Senator Dinosaur, he had a complete meltdown on Saturday. We're going to talk about it. Look, I'm a big boy. I bring the smoke. I get the smoke. It's not about me. It's about an insight into who these guys are. And the reason the governance that you get is so gross. Because these guys believe that they're entitled to whatever they want, to do whatever they want. And who the hell are you to question them in any capacity? We're going to talk about that here in just a moment. But first, a couple of housekeeping reminders. Number one, if you like this show, there's 3 ways you can help us grow. We call it like, share, and subscribe. First of all, hit that thumbs up button. If you're watching us live on YouTube, if you're watching us on demand on YouTube, hit that little thumbs up button. Helps us grow the program. Second thing, wherever you're watching us from, wherever you're listening to us from. And by the way, welcome in to all of you fabulous people that are checking us out on demand on Apple, on Spotify, on iHeart, on all the places. You all have been, the growth on the on-demand stuff has been incredible. And look, I freely admit this. Because, you know, I'm obviously doing the live show. When I share the feed on the social media, it's the YouTube feed. Every so often, I'll get the numbers from Jason on how we're doing on the on-demand. It's like, holy smokes, I don't give you people enough love. The growth has been incredible. Wherever you're at, whether you're watching us on YouTube, you're listening to us on Apple, iHeart, Spotify, all the places, share it out. You got a Facebook, you got a Twitter, you like what we do, share the feed out, let people know about us. And last but certainly not least, whatever format you're listening to us on, subscribe to that channel, like, share, and subscribe. That's how you can help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. Hey, guys, many homeowners are sitting on more equity than they realize. If you've owned your home for a few years, now may be a good time to explore your options. That's where our guy, Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage, comes in. He's a local mortgage advisor helping Central Indiana homeowners refinance to access cash for home improvements, consolidate higher interest debt, or simply review whether a better loan structure is available. Gary believes Every homeowner deserves a personalized mortgage review, not a one-size-fits-all solution from a call center. Visit loansbygary.homes, loansbygary.homes to learn more. Gary Tedrow, Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 179207, equal housing lender. Okay, let's get to the Mike Young stuff. So, this is great. And again, these guys they have, after all these years, they still haven't figured out the meaner you are to me, the more I like it. Because I have decided that I will use myself, because I can take it. I'm a big boy. I can handle demeanness. And what I'm willing to do is use myself as an opportunity to shine a spotlight on who these people actually are. And I've said this for years. The reason we get such crappy governance is because of the people making the choices. Yes, the institution itself is broken, but it's broken because of the people in it. And one of the reoccurring themes, now it's not true with every one of these people, but it's certainly true with a lot of them, is they believe they're smarter than you. They believe they're better than you. They believe they are able and entitled to do whatever they want to do, and how dare you challenge them? How dare you call them out? How dare you have an opinion? Don't you know who I am? So in the case of Mike Young, he showed this to you guys on Saturday. Now, a reminder why Mike Young hates me. Mike Young is a senator from Indianapolis, the Plainfield area, Speedway. He has been in the General Assembly for 40 years. 40 years. He was elected to the House of Representatives in 1986. I was 2. He was elected to the Senate in 2000. I was 16. And I have been adamant with Mike Young, as I have any number of these other people, because I believe in term limits. I believe, as in with any field, after you've been in a job for a certain period of time, once you've done the job for a period of time, you're just out of ideas. You're not capable of new ideas or new solutions anymore. And it's time for you to go do something else. It's time for you to go home. 40 years in any position is way too long. And if we're going to say it about Mitch McConnell, which we should, if we're going to say it about Chuck Grassley, which we should, if we're going to say it about Nancy Pelosi, which we should, then we're going to say it about Mike Young. Go home. You've been there too long. You haven't accomplished much of anything the entire time you've been there anyway. Go home. And that enrages Mike Young. It enrages Mike Young because Mike Young is one of these guys, and we've talked about this many, many times on the show. The job becomes them. The title becomes them. The title consumes them. It is what they are. It's pathetic. It's tragic. But these people become void of identity outside of their title. Senator fill in the blank. They can't function in the real world without the title. They need the title. They need the thing. And so Mike Young, over the years, has become outraged. And he's mad that I say it, but he's also mad that I have a platform and he knows people listen. And so Mike Young hates me because I've had the audacity to say after 40 years, you've been there too long. You've accomplished next to nothing while you've been there. You're loathed by your colleagues. Go home. Give it off to somebody else, dude. You had your shot. You've had your opportunity. Give it off to somebody else. The reason this country's in the shape it's in is because career politicians who, in a pathetic, very sad state of affairs, cannot function, cannot exist without the title, won't give it up. They won't move on. And if we're going to be critical of all these people that we don't like doing it, then you got to be critical of the people. Because Mike Young is conservative. There's no doubt about that. He is conservative. In fact, a lot of his views I agree with. It's no different than Todd Rokita. There's a lot of stuff with Rokita I agree with. But he's a squirrel. He acts like a squirrel. And the great thing about our show is we dislike all of these people equally. We have no allegiance to any of them because they have no allegiance to us, and we call them out. And so Mike Young takes every opportunity he can on the internet. Oh, he's a big, fat phony in person. And we'll talk about that here in a second. He's a big wussy. I used another word on one of my lives this morning, but we're radio friendly here. He's a big wussy in person. We'll talk about it. So here's what happened. And again, it's not about me. It's not about crying for me. It's not about shedding a tear for me. I'm a big boy. I invite the heat because I bring the heat. And unlike these politicians, I don't sit around crying about it. I give it right back to them. I use them as an example to show you who your elected people actually are. Show you who actually represents you, how thin-skinned they are, how entitled they are, how entitled they believe they are to do whatever the hell they want to do, and you're going to take it. And here's the example of how unhinged some of these guys are. So, many of you know I'm very into golf. You guys know that's my sport that I watch, that I love. And I used to be a pretty decent amateur golfer. Now, we're not talking like Tiger Woods here, right? Like, Rob's not hoisting the trophy at the U.S. Open. But in terms of like an amateur golfer, when I was younger, I used to play quite a bit, and I was pretty good, and I won quite a bit. Anymore, not so much. Play one time a year with my old man, it's pretty brutal. But there was a time where I was a pretty decent golfer. Again, I'm not out here claiming to be anything I'm not. I'm not saying I was capable of being one of the best in the world or even one of the best amateurs, but in terms of peers and contemporaries and everything else, I was a pretty good golfer. And used to play in some golf leagues. Won one of the golf leagues I played in several years in a row. And one of the things they do usually in golf leagues at the home course of the golf league is they'll create a plaque with the names on it, right? So-and-so won this year, and so-and-so won this year. And then they just leave them up. And it's a way to encourage leagues to be a part of the course, and the course makes some money off of it. And, you know, they keep that trophy, for lack of a better term, up in the pro shop. And so one of the courses I used to regularly play at that I won several leagues at, our super fan, our super listener, Drew, played at over the weekend. And, you know, Drew is an avid golfer, and he played out at this course, and he found the trophy with my name on it. And I won the league 3 years in a row, 01, 02, 03. Was very young, had a lot of free time, was pretty good at golf back then. And then went out like a champ, mostly because I discovered girls. And girls started taking up all my time and all my money. And I said, damn, if I can't win this thing every year, I'm not competing, and I don't have the drive to compete anymore. So it's like Michael Jordan. Went out on a three-peat, went out on a high note. Drew found the trophy, or the plaque, whatever you want to call it. And Drew took a picture of it, and he made, you know, some commentary about it and said, hey, Rob, I found your plaque. Or, hey, look at this. It's Rob Kendall's name, or, you know, whatever, right? Nothing political, no commentary, just nothing. Like, hey, Rob, here's your plaque. Ha ha. This is funny. That's it. Like, that was the extent. And we're talking about golf here. To steal a line from Allen Iverson, we're not talking about practice. We're talking about golf. Like, the guy found a golf trophy, and it's like, hey, Rob, here's your golf trophy. Unprovoked. Apropos of nothing. Mike Young, in the middle of the day, on the 4th of July, middle of the damn day on the 4th of July, pipes in. Now, I don't know what Mike Young was doing on the 4th of July. Maybe he was just having a great old time. Maybe he was really enjoying himself. Maybe, who knows? You guys can ask him. Does he even remember making the post? Who knows? I don't know. This is nuts. Because again, the post was about golf. Unhinged. Unhinged. Here is what Mike Young had to say about Drew posting a photo of I found Rob's golf trophy. I wouldn't give him any credit, as he's not good at anything he does. That's his opening salvo. Here's Rob's golf trophy. Mike Young, I wouldn't give him any credit, as he's not good at anything he does. You, on the other hand, to Drew, are a great American who expresses his views without abusing other people. You're extremely what is to be. Now, he missed a word in there. I'm reading it as he typed it. He missed a word in there. So again, I don't know what Mike Young was doing on the 4th of July. I don't I don't know. I don't know if he was having fun, how much fun he was having, who he was having fun with, what fun looked like for him, but I am saying he missed a word there. I'm reading you as he wrote it. Let me read it. Read it again. You exemplify what is to be. What is to be. Rob, on the other hand, shows what it means to destroy another American because he disagrees with the person's ideas. I like you better, Drew. Rob, on the other hand, shows what it means to destroy another American because he disagrees with the person's ideas. I like you better, Drew. Golf. That was a sitting state senator's response to a post about me many years ago being pretty good at golf. No politics, no government, no opinions from Drew. Just, hey, Rob, found the trophy with your name on it at a course he was playing that I played many years ago. So I see this, and I fired back at Mike Young. And I let him know in no uncertain terms that he's a big fat wussy. Because here's the deal about guys like Mike Young. They don't never come say it to your face. They're real Billy badasses on the internet. They're real keyboard warriors on the internet, but they are the biggest gutless chicken cowards. Because just a month ago, I was in the same room with Mike Young. On not one, but not two, but three occasions, he walked right past me at Hammer's kids' graduation party. And I was ready to go because Mike Young does this crap all the time. He talks so much about me. And I said, all right, Young's here. Let's go. Let's do it. Right here, buddy. You got something to say? You're going to walk right past me. Say it right to my face. Let's give the people a show. You know what he did? Nothing. Because he's got no stones. Because he knows if he said it to my face, I would destroy him. Because what is he actually pissed off about? What is he actually pissed off about? The things that he said here. Rob, on the other hand, shows what it means to destroy another American because he disagrees with the person's ideas. He's pissed off that I tell you how he and his buddies vote. That's what he's mad about. A state senator who makes, what, 75 large a year to work a couple months, who has all the power over us? He's mad that I have the audacity to tell you about how he and his buddies govern. He's playing the victim. He lords over you. He gets to tell you what to do. He can raise your taxes at any given point. He can take whatever he wants from you. And he plays the victim that the radio guy, now the podcast guy, by the way, I guess we can drop the he's so irrelevant stuff, right? I guess we can drop the whole kind of goofy what you're doing when a state senator on the 4th of July doing who knows what stops in the middle of his day and in an unhinged rant goes off on me because some guy posted a picture of my golf trophy from 20 plus years ago. The story here is not whether some guy hates me or not. Get in line. That line is long. The story is what these people actually think about you. And what they see you as, and what guys like Mike Young see you as, is a never-ending ATM machine. Shut up and pay. Shut up and pay. Because you know what he did after I called him out, and I basically said, say it to my face? And by the way, full invitation for Mike Young to come on in. Be a tough guy. Say it to my face. Say all the things you type on the internet. We have people in here all the time we disagree with. Ask Daniel Elliott. He got out just fine. Ask Matt Gentry. He got out just fine. You know what those guys got? They got stones. Because they know I don't like them. They know I'm mad at them. They know I don't agree with them. And they come in like men and they have the conversation. Get out from behind the keyboard, dinosaur Mike. Come have the conversation. Say it right to my face. Say all the things you think about me and say all the things you say to other people about me. By the way, I know the things you say to people behind closed doors about me too. Just remember that. And when these lawmakers, they think when they're in closed doors that they're talking to people who don't agree with me, that don't like me, don't whatever, it gets back to me. Just come in and say it in front of everybody. Let's have the conversation. What this is about, and this guy's hatred for me, is that I exist, that I breathe air, that I function, and that I have a platform where I don't care. And I tell you exactly what these people are doing. They have no leverage over me. They have even less leverage over me now than they did before. Can't get fired twice. Unless you can shut down YouTube and Apple and Spotify and iHeart. No manager to complain to anymore. I dealt with this for 9 years, where these guys on the regular, guys like Mike Young, these politicians, would call and try to get me fired because I was mean to them, because I demeaned them. They have all the power. They can do whatever they want. And one guy speaks out. One guy speaks up, and they can't handle it. They hate you. See, when guys like Jim Lucas get mad and they say, oh, Rob Kendall's fueling rage against us, or whatever phrase remember he tried to blame me for the swatting? Because he's like, Rob Kendall comes on and says, we hate these people. How do you think they're going to respond? You do hate them. Look at how you govern. Look at this response. These people are so entitled to being able to do whatever they want to do that some guy posts about golf and he can't constrain himself. He can't contain himself. And he kept going. So the best part about this, so I tell him, like, dude, just come in and say it to my face. Say it for everyone. Let's have the conversation. No need to be behind computer keyboards. You know what he did? He blocked me. He blocked me. A state senator flaps his gums because he was doing who knows what on the 4th of July, hits send. My response was, hey, tough guy, say it to my face. He blocks me and then starts going at it with other chatters about me, including Ethan Hatcher. Because Hatcher called him out on it. And here was his response to Ethan Hatcher. Nothing in my head other than people who always stand for the right principles, such as yourself. He's talking to Ethan, which Rob does not. Let me read that back to you. Nothing in my head other than people who always stand for the right principles, such as yourself, which Rob does not. So I guess, according to Mike Young, being for low taxes, limited government, accountable government, calling out crony capitalism, calling out brazen corruption, like Diego Morales, who people like Mike Young did nothing about. The IEDC, brazen corruption, which people like Mike Young have done nothing about. I guess that's not what's standing for what's right. He goes on to say, you point out what is wrong and seek redress. Rob points out what may be wrong and seeks to destroy. You're destroying us, Senator. You and your friends in the Republican Party are destroying us. Everything you guys do is you take and you take and you take and you take. You give us no other option but to fight back. Because you guys never do the right thing. You see the people as a never-ending ATM machine. You see the people as government's personal piggy bank. Yeah, we're pissed off. You know why I was number one for all those years? Because I was the voice of the people. Those people that listen to me every day, they do hate you and your buddies and your colleagues and the government. Because all you people ever do is take. You never thank. You never give back. You are destroying. Government is destroying people, period. I've been number one. I've been so popular. This podcast works unlike anybody else because I say the things that nobody else can or will say. That is why it works. There is a difference between you and Rob. I hope you see the difference. He then goes on to say to Ethan, you do it with humility. He does it with anger. There is a difference. I can hear what you say, but I can't hear what he says because I deplore anger, but I love honest disagreement. I can hear what you say, but I can't hear what he says because I deplore anger. The guy who was so unhinged that he saw a photo of a golf trophy in the middle of the day on the 4th of July and went on an unhinged rant on Facebook is lecturing people about anger. Mike Young is the same guy who quit the Republican caucus. I guess he's gone back because he didn't get his way on abortion, but he deplores anger. He quit. He quit the Republican caucus because he didn't get his way on an amendment on the abortion conversation, but he deplores anger. This is your government, guys. Mike Young's a dinosaur. He's an unaccomplished, do-nothing dinosaur. He's a sad, pathetic person. He needs the title of senator to give his life meaning. I didn't do this segment because I want you to feel bad for me. I'm a big boy. It's just part of the standard operating procedure for me. I did this segment because these guys expose who they are. They expose what they actually think about you, what they actually see you as. They hate you. And they keep proving me right that they hate you. Hey guys, you got a leaky chimney, water in the basement, cracks around the exterior of your home? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay doesn't offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay, they've been with us from the beginning. BRAMWELLMCKAY.com, BramwellMackay.com, your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialists. All right. Now everybody's awake. We can get to the rest of the show. We got tons of great audio for you guys when we come back, including Braun saying something on redistricting several weeks ago that until Abdul found it, went totally unnoticed, and it is mind-boggling that he said it out loud. We got to get to that. We got stuff with the gas tax. We got a ton of stuff to get to. Nobody does local like us. Stick around. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, Realtor with App Properties. I would love to get to know you. I know that buying and selling a home is a really big deal. You need a plan in place so you can succeed. And that's where I come in. If you are buying, let me help you find that perfect home. And if you are selling, let me help you find that perfect buyer. Look, we're all Rob Kendall Show fans here. That's why I'd love to get to know you. I'm Lauren Wilson, Realtor with App Properties, an Army veteran and a Hoosier through and through. Call me at 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290.
Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're having an awesome Monday. Look, we are, this is the most fun I've ever had doing media. And I warned the people that were doing a happy dance when I left IBC. I said, be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. Because now we don't have a boss anymore. There's no one to complain to, and this show continues to grow, and it's going to grow into new mediums. We're getting to that point where hopefully that's going to start happening soon, and we're our own boss. We exist to hold the politicians accountable. That is why we have always, this is the thing they can never figure out. If you guys just stopped acting the way you act, you guys being the politicians, if you stopped doing the things that you do, I would go out of business. I mean, think about that. I got a whole segment. Thousands of people are going to hear what an unaccomplished, unhinged gas bag Mike Young is because he couldn't restrain himself. He couldn't contain himself on the 4th of July. That's pathetic. That's absolutely pathetic. We'll capitalize on it. We'll turn it into clicks and likes and shares and listens all day, every day. But it is you guys, the politicians, that create the environment by which I can thrive. Maybe you want to think about that next time before you hit send on social media. All right. We've got to play you this audio from Mike Braun here in a few minutes. It was buried in a public television broadcast that he did like 3 weeks ago about redistricting. And for some reason, it just now has been uncovered. In fact, the audio was before the convention. So we'll talk about that here in just a moment. But first, this week's menu at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro is on fire, guys. Unbelievable, some of the things to choose from. Of course, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro, located in beautiful Brazil. Andy, one of the owners, did our fabulous Rob Kendall Show sign. Listen to some menu options this week at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. Now, of course, they're open for dinner Friday, dinner Saturday, brunch buffet on Sunday. Here are your options, some of the things this week. Steak Diane, country-style pork ribs with honey bourbon sauce, key lime cheesecake, chocolate pie with pie crust handmade by Jody, one of the owners. The Honeysuckle Hill Bistro never disappoints. It's on the water, the great scenic view, the outdoor seating, a chance to get away, a chance to relax. Of course, they got the cottage there, too, if you want to make a weekend of it. The Honeysuckle Hill Bistro in Brazil, just off of 40. Great opportunity to get away. Whether you want to reserve the cottage, you want to reserve the restaurant, dinner at the restaurant, 812-443-3003, 812-443-3003, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. Man, our guy, Andy, or Ken Eagle, he is a regular out there now. He just raves about it. Many of you have been out there. Honeysuckle Hill Bistro in Brazil. All right, let's get to some audio. And I found this audio, and look, we don't do a lot of national stuff unless it sparks conversation, and most times we can try to tie it back here locally. But I found this audio, and I am so fascinated on what you guys think about this. Of course, many of you know we wrap up our program each day reading the best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. And I want to know what you guys think about this in the chat, because I think this is a fascinating conversation starter. So Rainn Wilson, you guys know Rainn Wilson? He's the dude who played Dwight Schrute on The Office. Rainn Wilson is very libertarian in a lot of his views. He's got some liberal views too, but he's also very libertarian in a lot of his views. He was on a podcast. I believe the name of it was Soul Boom. And he was talking about a comment made by Ricky Gervais. Now, Ricky Gervais, most of you know, he was before The Office was an American show, it was a British show. And basically what the Americans did is they lifted the premise of The Office and they, adapted it a little bit, but they basically took it off of British television. And Ricky Gervais was the star of the original Office. He's an English actor. You'd know him if you saw him. Ricky Gervais, a while ago, was talking about actors and actresses at award ceremonies. And obviously, we've seen intense decline in the viewership, the interest of award ceremonies. They used to be ratings juggernauts. They're all in the toilet now. And one of the things Ricky Gervais said was, hey, people hate the politics of a lot of you people. Mainstream America, middle America, hates the politics of a lot of you people. And the number one thing you guys can do to endear yourself to mainstream America, who's not watching your award shows anymore, is cut out the politics. Stop talking about politics. Stop lecturing people. Stop essentially grandstanding to people in your award ceremonies. People don't want to hear it. And so Rainn Wilson addressed this issue on this podcast that he was on. And I'm very curious where you guys come down with this, because he's talking about, well, hey, from free speech, people should say whatever they want. But then also from the side of Ricky Gervais, people don't want to watch you anymore. And if your goal is to get people to watch, you're doing the exact opposite of what you need to do. Here is what Rainn Wilson had to say. I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts in the YouTube chat. We'll talk about it here in just a moment. Take a listen.
One of the things that pisses me off to no end is Ricky Gervais saying, just take your actor award. No one wants to hear what you have to say. It's like, you.
Yeah.
Guess what? Everyone gets to say what they want to say about anything.
Yeah.
Gaza, climate change, politics, you get to say it. If you're a truck driver, you get to say it.
Yeah.
If you're a school teacher and you're winning an award,
living in this country.
And we have free speech, and if people don't want to hear it, they don't have to give you an award.
And he's never put any limits on his speech.
No. And is it going to change, war or climate change with you saying something for 75 seconds after you win a Golden Globe? No.
Yeah.
But why would you try and shame and silence someone from speaking their truth? I mean, it shouldn't just be for the sake of it. Hopefully what you're saying is well researched, and hopefully you're doing something about that cause that you want to speak to.
Yeah.
And it's not just kind of like, what is it? What do they call that? Mood signaling? No, what's it?
Virtue signaling.
Virtue signaling or something like that. But I think that's utter bullshit. And I think everyone, from janitor to actor, you do not need to be an academic. You don't need to have a PhD. You don't need to be a politician or an expert to speak out on what moves you.
Okay, I thought this was fascinating because I think, number one, he's confusing a couple of things. And then he touched on something I don't think he meant to do it. That was Rainn Wilson. Actor Rainn Wilson played Dwight Schrute on The Office. That why people are so upset about these actors and actresses and musicians grandstanding when they get these awards. No, number one, nobody's saying you can't say anything. He's saying you shouldn't. The same way as everybody has the right to say what they want, but when you work for someone, you have restrictions that are put on you. When you work for someone, you have things you can and can't do. No one's saying these people don't have a right to their opinion. What Ricky Gervais was saying is people don't want to hear it. You're harming the product. You're harming yourself. Most importantly, you're harming the show, which is the ratings, which are then the advertisers, which is then the ability to do it again. Nobody's saying you can't do it. He's saying you shouldn't do it if you actually care about getting people to watch your product. The second thing is that Rainn Wilson touched on, one of the major reasons people don't want to hear it is they don't believe these people are genuine. They don't believe these people know anything about which they speak. They do believe, as he said, virtue signaling. You see, how many times have we seen this with these actors and actresses who lecture us on climate change, and then they get in their private jets, or these politicians or these singers, they get in their private jets and they fly all over the world and they lecture us. I mean, it was like the Taylor Swift wedding over the weekend. What'd they do? They erected a giant barrier around Madison Square Garden. I guarantee if you ask Taylor Swift about the wall and what she thinks about the wall, she's going to be against it. But yet, for her personal security, for her personal safety, you couldn't get anywhere near Madison Square Garden. Why? Because walls work. That is a major reason people don't want to hear it. They don't see these people walking the walk for the talk that they're talking. Rules for thee, but not for me. And then you are going to lecture me about how I live my life. No, I'm not going to stand for that. Also, again, it comes back to people go to the movies for escape. People go to sports for an escape. People go to concerts for an escape. When you inject your politics into it, first of all, you're alienating half the people regardless. And second of all, you're eliminating their ability to escape. If they can't escape, then why would they watch the thing? Now, I'm not a hypocrite about this. I make my living talking about politics, but you don't come to me for escape. You come to watch me crap all over Mike Young. Delivered. You're welcome. You come to this for that reason. If I was an actor, if I was a singer, if I was a sports star, I would not engage in politics. One of the reasons I chose this career is I'm super interested in politics and very passionate about it. This has afforded me the ability to give an opinion 3 hours a day. And I recognize that there's a whole bunch of people who aren't going to watch because of my opinion. But my business plan, my thing I do is rooted in the opinion. You know, when you come here, you're getting the opinion. Two things can be true at the same time. You have the right to say things, but maybe you shouldn't. Nobody's saying you can't say it. They're saying you shouldn't say it. It's why the film industry is in the shape it's in. It's why the awards industry is in the shape it's in. People want to get away from it all. And when you throw it in their face, they just say, I'm not going to consume it. All right. That's the first piece of audio. Second piece of audio, Caroline Leavitt. And I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts on this. Caroline Leavitt is the spokesperson for the White House, for Donald Trump. And obviously, she is, her job is to relay the views of the president, the policies of the administration. She was on with Jesse Waters, and they were talking about how lazy and entitled young people are. And this is an example of where I'm listening to this going, okay, she's right on a lot of stuff, but she's also a complete hypocrite because of how she's kind of lived her life. So let's play the audio of this, of Caroline Leavitt on Jesse Waters. Let's hear what she has to say, and then we'll examine why that might be the pot calling the kettle black. Take a listen.
Right now.
Some of these kids, and I call them kids because they're in their 20s, and they've never had real jobs, and they're complaining things are expensive. Yes, things are expensive when you don't have a real job.
That's right.
Do you think that's getting traction, complaining?
Unfortunately, I do, because this generation, my generation, I hate to say it, Gen Z and those younger than me have been raised with just silver spoons in their mouths, just getting everything handed to them. That's not the values this country was built on. It was built on meritocracy and hard work, pulling up your sleeves, pulling yourself up from your bootstraps, and achieving the American dream. And we need to protect it with all we got.
Is it laziness?
A little bit.
Is it because the professors said the country's corrupt, it's evil, and we just need to shake them down and hand money out?
It's laziness, and it's the liberal indoctrination. You bring up a great point about our education system. However, I will say a silver lining, so many parents that I talk to across the country are homeschooling, are turning to private education, are turning towards Christian schools across the country because they don't want their children being taught these communist and liberal ideas slammed down their throat. It's why President Trump in the White House has advocated so strongly for school choice across the country. We want kids to be taught to love our country. They should. It is the greatest country in the history of the world.
All right. I say, if they misbehave, just make all these young kids join the army, right? Shape them up. I almost had
or send them to Cuba. Send them to Iran. They'll want to come back real quick.
That's a good point. They can say hi to the gay Ayatollah. Thank you so much and welcome.
Okay, so this is fascinating audio. Caroline Leavitt and Jesse Waters, they're both right. Young people are not, and we've talked about this many times, they're not being taught the history of our country. They're not being taught the sacrifices that were made for them to have great lives. They're not being taught about the values that our country was founded around and the things that have sustained us as a country for 250 years. And so they're very right about that. You have a group of young people in their 20s and 30s, early 30s, late 30s, 40s, it's my generation's in on it too, who do not revere what came before them. They don't look at what came before them and go, that's very special. Someone gave a lot for me to be able to have the opportunities that I do. We don't teach work ethic the way that we do. We don't teach the idea of hard work and the value in hard work like we used to. And part of it is we have a society that, thanks to technology, is phasing out the meaning of hard work. Machines are doing it a lot for us now. So they're right about that. Now, I will say this, and I always chuckle about this, like in the state of Indiana when they bitch about public schools. Well, the Republicans control everything. And the same thing's true with the federal government. The Republicans control everything. If you're not happy about the state of the public school system, do something about it. Republicans here bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch about the public education system. And there's plenty to bitch about. It fails on many levels. But you, the Republicans, have been in charge of public education in Indiana for 20 plus years. If there's something wrong with the public education system at this point, it's because of you. The other thing is, Caroline Leavitt is married to a dude that's like 30 years older than her and is a gajillionaire. And now look, you guys know I'm the last person to ever be like, you shouldn't marry somebody younger than you. But there is a bit of hypocrisy in some people like talking about silver spoons in their mouth when you've married a billionaire who's like 30 years your senior. I'm just saying, right? She may not be the best person to be talking about people who are entitled when you marry a gajillionaire, and that's how you made your money, and that's how you got your influence. Just saying. Okay, one of the big things, and we are running out of time on this now, not like on our show. We have infinite time on our show. By the way, another thing I'd like to throw out to you guys. Jason and I have been kicking some things around. I'm not saying we're doing this. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying we're pondering it happening. And the great thing about our show is you are the test audience in real time, right? There's no focus group. And so we just throw things out in real time. And sometimes we throw things out and we don't do them. Sometimes we throw them out and we do them. Sometimes we throw them out and we're like, okay, we'll put it in the file. There's a lot of stuff going on right now with us, right? And there's a lot of moving parts and some things that may come to fruition and some things who may not come to fruition. We don't know. But one of the things we're pondering because of all the moving parts is potentially moving to noon to 3. Now, again, we're not anywhere close to doing that, but we value your input. Because we kind of feel like, for a variety of reasons, noon to 3 might end up being a better time for us. Might not be a better time for us personally. What would you guys think about that? If we went to noon to 3, would that disrupt what you do? Would you like that? Would you dislike that? Let us know in a YouTube chat. Let Producer Jason know on the Producer Jason Facebook page. By the way, follow Producer Jason's Facebook page. If we moved to noon to 3, what would you guys think about that? We'll take it under advisement. All right, back to the audio. My point was we have infinite time on this show. As long as YouTube doesn't cut us off, we have infinite time. But I was saying running out of time. I'm saying the federal government is running out of time, certainly for this election, if they want to do election reform. Tom Tillis, senator from North Carolina, said the other day, it doesn't matter what they do now. There's not enough time to enact it. Trump is not giving up. Trump desperately wants the SAVE Act passed. And he of course, gave that big speech in Washington, D.C. on July 4th. And one of the things that he talked about at length was the need to pass the SAVE Act, which would require voter ID, proof of citizenship. He also wants to ban mail-in balloting. Now, I'll come back to that in a minute, but take a listen. Here's Trump on the 4th of July in Washington, D.C. Take a listen to the president.
Country is winning again, and we're winning like never before. America is back, and we want to keep America great, and we will do so by approving the Save America Act, which means all voters must show voter ID. All voters must provide a little thing called proof of citizenship. And there will be no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel. And you won't have cheating on the elections anymore. It's very simple.
Okay, look, we have said from the beginning, whatever. I assume Jason is in on this, but I am a huge supporter of voter ID. Indiana's elections work nearly perfect. Not all the time 100%, but pretty darn good because of the voter ID. And everybody should have to show an ID in every state in the union in order to vote, especially when you're voting in federal elections that affect all of us. You'd absolutely have to show an ID in order to vote. 100%. You should also have to be a citizen. Prove you're a citizen. I don't think those two things are outrageous. And I've said, and we said this from very early on in the show, when this months ago, go back months to the original episodes. I said the Republicans would be best served to drop everything else out of the SAVE Act, focus on the citizenship and the voter ID, and I think they'd get it done quicker. But they have stayed because of Trump on all these other things that are not going to work. I'm not a fan of mail-in balloting, but it ain't going away. And you gum up what you can get accomplished, which needs to be accomplished, which are the citizenship proof and the voter ID proof. And so Mike Johnson, who is the Speaker of the House, he was on Fox News Sunday. He got asked about the SAVE Act. He said he's going to try to get it through reconciliation. But what he's doing is, on this new version, he's cutting it down to voter ID and proof of citizenship, which is what I've been saying for 4 months. That is the best opportunity to get something passed. I know it's not what Trump wants, but it's not what Trump wants. It's what you can't get passed. Here's Mike Johnson saying the same thing I've been saying for 4 months. Take a listen.
Big urgency is to get Save America passed. The president has that as a top priority, and so do I. We passed it 3 times in the House. We're going to try one more time on a budget reconciliation bill, and I think that will be the way to get it through the Senate and finally to the president's desk. So that's forthcoming.
Okay, I want to talk about reconciliation, but before that, you talk about what the House has passed. So the Save America Act, and on your side, is about voter ID and proof of citizenship. What's come together in the Senate is different. The president wants some additional things about mail-in ballots, trans treatment, for minors and trans athletes. Will he accept the House version? You've had conversations with him. Is he willing to accept that version, or does he want everything else what's packed in the Senate version?
I think our version is the main sort of the backbone of that.
The House version.
Yes, he would like to add the prohibition of mail-in balloting, except for exceptions like if somebody's deployed overseas or they're ill or can't get to the polling place. But he understands that one is a bigger reach. If we can get proof of citizenship and photo ID to vote, that eliminates so much of the problem, all the fraud and everything that everybody's concerned about in our elections, particularly, frankly, in these blue states. Look at California. They're still counting ballots from an election that happened a month ago. It's crazy, and everybody understands that.
Yes, bingo. They should have. And again, it doesn't mean that the mail-in balloting reforms aren't necessary, but it is very hard to get stuff through the United States Congress. And especially when you have narrow margins like the Republicans do, they should have cut all that other stuff out. They should have been focused on the main stuff. You know, getting 50% of what you want or 60% of what you want is way better than zero. They should have focused on that from the beginning and gone with the voter ID stuff. It's a winner with the public. The public likes the absentee and the mail-in balloting. You lose people when you start throwing things in. Not saying it's not a good idea, but you lose the plot when you have all this other stuff to consider, and they should have been focused on the voter ID and the proof of citizenship from the word go. They'd have it done by now. All right, one other piece of audio, and then we'll move on. So Abdul has a big post over at Indie Politics this morning about this interview that Mike Braun did. He went on public TV. I believe this is in Northwest Indiana, and it's WNIN. It's called the Shively and Shoulders Show. That sounds like a public TV show, don't it? The Shively and Shoulders Show. And he does this 15-minute interview, and they talked about it, but by the way, it's from 3 weeks ago. I have no idea how this stayed hidden until Abdul posted about it today. It's a massive deal, and for some reason, like it was just hiding in plain sight. He goes on this show, and they ask about a variety of things. It's before the convention. They ask about the convention. They ask about the Bears. Braun, you ask him a question, and he spends 9 minutes answering every question. So they only got to, like 3 or 4 things. But one of the things they asked him about was redistricting. And Braun here, and I'll play you the audio in a second, appeared to admit his heart was never really in redistricting. And he only did it because of the Trump administration, that they wanted it done, and more importantly, that there were going to be ramifications to the state of Indiana if he didn't do it. Now, remember, like when this was going on, Braun was like, Oh, no, this is the most important thing ever. The republic hangs in the balance. This is the biggest thing we'll ever do. I'm calling a special session. Oh, blah, 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 blah. I want you to contrast what you remember him saying less than a year ago about redistricting to what you're about to hear with this commentary, and then we'll talk about it. Take a listen.
In this case, it didn't look to me like there was much flexibility in terms of what you could do. I agreed with the reasons for doing it, didn't know that it was absolutely necessary, but then you can make a decision. Are you going to be with it or against it? And are there going to be repercussions that follow? And that was clear to me that there were going to be.
The governor admitted right there after denying it. So remember the timeline on this. Braun comes out and says we have to do redistricting because if we don't, there's going to be ramifications. Remember this in the fall, winter of last year. And everybody's like, what ramifications? And then he's basically like, I didn't really mean that. That spoke out of turn. There won't be any ramifications. And then his idiot lieutenant governor, remember, tweeted, and he was like, yeah, I was there with the conversation. There's absolutely going to be ramifications if we don't do this. And then in classic Micah Beckwith fashion, instead of owning it and telling us exactly what the ramifications were going to be, he deleted the tweet. You guys remember this? Where they were like, oh, yeah, there's going to be huge hell to pay if we don't do this. And everybody was like, so the Trump administration is essentially threatening the state of Indiana that they'll withhold federal money if we don't do the redistricting? And then that all just went away. Right there, he just said it. But can we play that again? Just to everybody can confirm, I'm not making that up, that the governor of the state of Indiana confirmed that there was a threat from the federal government, the Trump administration, if he didn't do what they wanted.
In this case, it didn't look to me like there was much flexibility in terms of what you could do. I agreed with the reasons for doing it, didn't know that it was absolutely necessary, but then you can make a decision. Are you going to be with it or against it? And are there going to be repercussions that follow? And that was clear to me that there were going to be.
Didn't know if it was absolutely necessary. That's way different than what he was saying last year. Didn't know if it was absolutely necessary. So what we now have is the governor who, when we begged him to call a special session for the property tax bill, remember that, guys? We're like, dude, this bill stinks. You don't have to go along with this. Veto it. Call special session. Fight for us. He's like, nah, there's not the will of the General Assembly there. I'm not doing that. And then he was told repeatedly by the head of the Senate, Rod Bray, there is not the votes here to pass this. Please don't do this. He was like, no, I'm doing it. It's the most important thing ever. The republic hangs in the balance. And along the way, he admitted then unadmitted, as did his lieutenant governor, that they were being strong-armed by the federal government. Now, the question is, and this is what everybody needs to be asking, what project was held over Braun's head? What project was held over Braun's head? Was it a project in Southwest Indiana? And by the way, we're going to have somebody who's been very involved with said project or fighting said project with us on Friday. You know, that road, that $4 billion-ish project in which the state would be on the hook for like $250 million and the feds would be the rest. Is that the project Braun was talking about? Because what other project has been held up that isn't going forward? He admitted right there, and for some reason, nobody caught on to it until Abdul found it, that he was strong-armed into doing redistricting by the federal government, and he really didn't give a damn about doing it. He didn't do anything for you on property taxes, but he was all over it on redistricting. Hey, guys, Double D's Barbecue, you know them, you love them, they're open Wednesday through Saturday. The owners, Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, they're from Memphis. They take barbecue very serious. Ribs, brisket, and more. Every single one of you guys who's been out there to Double D's, it's right there at 40 and 39 in Clayton. You've said totally worth the trip. A little bit of a drive, totally worth it. Double D's, they bring the receipts. Been winner of both best ribs and best sauce at Rib Fest in Hendricks County. They are not screwing around when it comes to their barbecue. If you're looking for something different, little out of the way, totally worth the trip. Get the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com, ddbbq317.com, and make your plan Wednesday through Saturday this week to head out to Double D's in Clayton. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Doge is coming to an end. What did Doge really accomplish? What's the legacy of Doge? Did it actually cut anything? The government still seems to be getting bigger. And our old pal Jacob Stewart over at the Indy Star had an interesting column about Greg Ballard that I want to talk about. I think this is fascinating. We'll talk about all that and more when we come back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Hey guys, welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're having an awesome Monday. Nobody does Indiana news and politics and government like us. If you haven't done so yet, hit that little thumbs up button. Like the show, whether you watch us live or on demand. It really helps us grow the program. We call it like, share, and subscribe. Great way to help us out here on the Rob Kendall Show. Bunch of you guys weighing in on that potential noon to 3 move. Yeah, we'll take it all under advisement, and we're not close to making any decisions yet. But you guys are the focus group. We do it in real time, and we take all of it under advisement before making any decisions because we exist. We are here to serve you. And like I said, a lot of moving parts right now. A lot of things we're talking with other people about. We're just trying to figure out what's the best time to do what we do best. And, quite frankly, I feel like we've been really successful 9 to noon. I don't know if you check things out in the general media sphere, but we've accomplished a lot in 4 months. But, all right, so let's get to this column from Jacob Stewart with the Indy Star. Now, I love Stewart. I think he's a great guy. The Star has been very good to me. And Jacob actually, I think, is going to be with us later this week. If you guys haven't caught on, there is a community that is being developed in Greenwood, which is being marketed specifically to people of the Sikh faith. And there's a lot of outrage now over these signs that were put up and what the development actually is. And Jacob Stewart from the Star will be with us later this week to talk about that and talk about what's going on. But he's the deputy opinion editor for the Indy Star, and he had a column today that came out in the Star today about Greg Ballard. And I thought this was very interesting. The title of the piece is, Greg Ballard's Lincoln Party Won't Truly Be Independent. Now, most of you are aware, but for those of you who are not, Greg Ballard, is running as an independent for Secretary of State. He, however, has created a Lincoln Party banner to run under, which is completely common sense given the ramifications of how he's expected to do. Because parties get established based on how you do in the Secretary of State's race. Greg Ballard could have got all these signatures as an independent, run as an independent, and then whatever he did, it just affects him. If your goal is to truly get more independent-minded people involved, more people willing to branch out or branch off of the two parties, he would have been a fool not to form an actual party, because now, no matter how he does, it will have a positive impact for those people wanting to run in future elections under the banner of the Lincoln Party. We asked Ballard what the Lincoln Party was going to be. He was kind of all over the map on it, but he basically said what his hope was is that the Lincoln Party would be able to create competition in every district based on the makeup of the district because of gerrymandering. And I thought, well, in theory, that's not actually a bad idea. So basically what he's saying is, in Brownsburg, where I live, Hendricks County, where I live, the Democrat running against my state rep, Jeff Thompson, probably has no shot. However, if you have a Republican-minded individual or a person that, while independent, may have some more Republican-leaning views, can run, it then makes that race competitive because that person could challenge the Republican in the fall, force the Republican to come to a more centrist, independent viewpoint, and it would make the Democrat competitive as well. The opposite would be true in Marion County, where it's all Democrats. If you have more Democrat-minded yet moderate independent people running, it would force the Democrat to have to campaign in the fall because the Republican has no chance. I said, well, I don't know how you're going to enact that. I don't know, in principle how it works, but in theory, I kind of like it. Now, Stewart writes this column being critical of the way this is set up, and I'll get to that in a second. But one of the things that I disagree with, and again, I love Jacob Stewart. He's a great guy, and that's the great thing about opinion pieces. You can disagree with them, and that's okay because they're opinion pieces. By the way, guys, we're hitting 11 o'clock. Just a reminder, our third hour each day brought to you by John Rust, the guy who doesn't want anything other than for this show to succeed. Thanks to John Rust, allowing us to bring you a third hour every single day. So one of the flaws in Stewart's piece is he operates from the standpoint Ballard won't get 10% of the vote. And I vehemently disagree with that. Reminder, 10% is an important number because 10% gets the party primary ballot access. So right now, you go vote in a primary. They ask you, do you want a Democrat ballot or a Republican ballot? And people file to run under those parties' banners, and they run in primaries and they run against each other. If the Lincoln Party, if Ballard gets 10% in the Secretary of State's race, the Lincoln Party will be afforded the same benefit. So you'll be able to vote on their candidates in a primary. If the Lincoln Party fails to get 10%, as long as they get 2%, they will be like the Libertarians are now, in which they have conventions where they nominate their candidates. Stewart operates the column off Ballard not getting 10%. And I think I've been right on all of this so far, guys. And I think one of the reasons I'm able to be right, I don't have any vested interest. The only interest I have is the Republican losing. I don't care if it's I don't care if it's Schillings, the Libertarian. I don't care if it's Ballard. Now, I'm going to vote for one of these people, and when I do, I'll tell you who I voted for, as I always do. It could be an election day call for me. I don't know. We'll see how the campaign plays out. But one of the things I have is the independents, because I don't have any favorites here, is to tell you exactly what's going on. And look, I think we've been spot on everything on this race so far. About Ballard, about how he's going to do, about the Republicans dumping Diego, all that stuff. I think we've led the way on it. And I'm telling you, I would be floored if Greg Ballard does not end up with 10% of the vote. Now, unless he runs a horrible campaign, which he certainly could. He could run an awful campaign. Maybe he doesn't stand for anything. Who knows, right? But as long as Ballard runs any sort of reasonable, respectable campaign, I would be floored if he doesn't end up with 10%. But Stewart writes the column from the perspective he won't get the 10%, so he'll have to have a convention to nominate, the Lincoln Party will have to have a convention to nominate candidates, etc. He writes this: conventions prioritize the voices of delegates, which are often highly committed party insiders. In the Lincoln Party's case, that would mean those connected to the Ballard campaign. That's a lot of power given to a small group of people. It's naive to assume they will buck human nature and not prioritize personal beliefs and interests. Without a platform, they have no other ways to assess who is a high-quality independent candidate. Now, I find this fascinating. And look, I think Jacob Stewart really likes Max Engling. He seemed to be very on Engling's side during the convention. And the fact that he's writing this piece now, look, Ballard is the threat to Engling. Ballard is a bigger threat than Bayh is. If it were Bayh against Engling, Engling would win. But with Ballard in the mix, Bayh gets a real shot to win the election. Ballard is the threat. The Republicans have to take out Ballard. And you're seeing this in the response. And look, Jacob's entitled to write whatever he wants. He's a great writer. He writes well. I enjoy his pieces. I'm not, some people that get mad when I write opinion pieces. I'm not that at all. I really enjoy reading people I don't agree with. But I think it's kind of obvious Jacob Stewart's a fan of Max Engling, and so he's writing this to try to devalue in some sense what Ballard is doing. And so we have to pause for a moment and remind you, Ballard is doing something that's never been done before in our state. Ever. And he's doing it for an office that should be non-political. The Republicans have made the office political with Diego. It should be non-political. The idea that there would be any sort of criticism about how his party would be set up or how his candidates would be nominated for not having figured it out all right away is ridiculous. He's literally drinking from a fire hose 24/7. Ballard has no institutional help. He has no infrastructure help. He's building a plane from the ground up. Yes, he's doing it in a non-political office. It's not like he's running for governor where he says, I believe these things and these things shall be the principle of our party because this is what I do to run our state. He's running as an independent because the office that he's seeking has been so politicized. It's been so bastardized. It's been so corrupted by the Republicans and Diego Morales. The premise that I'm going to be critical of how he would nominate his candidates when we don't even know what percentage of the vote he's going to get is ludicrous. He's doing something, he has done something that has never been done before in our state. Now, the Libertarians as a party pulled it together for ballot access years ago. That's how they maintain their ballot access. But they had a party. Ballard's doing this all on his own. For an office that he's trying to say, I'm just trying to bring some respectability and competency back. Again, this is not an endorsement. This is not telling you to vote for Greg Ballard. You vote for Bayh, great. You vote for Schillings, great. You vote for Ballard, great. I don't care. But the idea that we're now going after him because, well, if Ballard doesn't get 10%, the people who would vote for Ballard would be vote at the convention would be Ballard loyalists. So you really wouldn't get independents. Here's an idea, and we'll talk about this with Jacob when he's on. Just get him the 10%, and then it truly is the most independent party our state has ever seen, the most independent idea our state has ever seen, because anybody could run under it. The election for Secretary of State, and this is, I think you're seeing sort of the playbook, right? What the Republicans are going to throw at Ballard. They're going to try to create doubt in your mind about Ballard because a lot of this stuff Stewart writes about in his column is about Ballard's social views or Ballard's time as mayor. Look, it's all fair game. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it is obvious because seeing what Jacob's written, what other people are talking about. Remember the one guy who I told you about in the media who's like, I don't even know why Ballard's running now that Diego's out of the race. The Republicans are scared to death of Greg Ballard. Bai may become the ultimate victor because Ballard's in the race, but they are scared to death of Ballard. Ballard's existence scares the hell out of the Republicans because they labeled him the gold standard. Now, people like me had problems with Ballard for years as mayor of Indianapolis. We were told, sit down and shut up. Ballard is it. Big tent Republican Party. Red mayor, blue city. And now all of a sudden, all of these things that we were told were great, and Rob, you don't get it. This is how you have to govern in a blue city. We're told are the worst things ever. Do not, when you vote this year, however you vote, don't get distracted. Because you're going to see a lot of messaging to try to distract you. The election for Secretary of State is very simple. This is the question you have to keep asking yourself. Do you believe Republicans should be able to get away with 15 years of heinous government at the state level? If the answer is yes, then vote for Max Engling. We're done here. Do you believe the Republicans should be able to get away with 15 years of heinous government at the state level? If the answer is yes, vote for Engling. Do you believe the Republicans should be able to get away with 4 years of condoning, supporting, and to some extent, both currently known and probably unknown, covering up Diego Morales? If the answer is yes, vote for Engling. Vote for the Republican. That's what the election's about. Those two things. Do you believe the Republicans should be able to get away with 15 years of heinous government, tax increases, growth of government, crony capitalism, putting donors and lobbyists ahead of you, all the stuff? If the answer is yes to that, vote Republican. Do you think the Republicans should get away with 4 years of enabling, covering up, emboldening, supporting Diego Morales? If the answer is yes, vote Republican. Nothing else matters. That's what this conversation is about. Not what the Lincoln Party's going to be, not its organizational structure, not who the candidates are going to be a year from now or 2 years from now. None of that matters. And that's what the Republicans are going to try to distract people on. Well, what about this? Did you think about that? What about this? Is he truly independent? Who gives a damn? I care about what the Republicans have done, and they need to be held accountable. If you actually love the Republican Party, if you actually want to save the Republican Party, if you actually want the Republican Party to be Republican, you have to do your part to ensure the Republicans lose this election. This is your shot. Look, again, I love Jacob Stewart. I think he's a great writer. He has totally missed the boat on this piece. The idea that you are ripping on Ballard for a lack of organizational structure, or what is the convention going to look like a year from now, or what is the primary going to look like for a year from now? He's doing something that's never been done before. And he did it in 4 months' time. You finally have an opportunity to have a voice. That is what this election is about. That is what is going on here. If you want that voice, if you want the accountability, then you have 3 options to have that voice. They all have, as we've laid out, their own positives and negatives. But if you vote for the Republican because you're worried about what's the convention for the Lincoln Party going to look like in a year or 2 years, look at the conventions for the Republicans. It takes them 9 hours to vote. It's a dumpster fire. Look at the people they nominate. I mean, come on. Engling, Diego, Rittenhour, Shelton. If we're talking about competency of the job, there was one guy and the Republicans told him to get lost. That was David Shelton. So don't lecture me about what the Lincoln Party convention's going to look like in a year from now or 2 years from now, because if the people band together and all the people who claim to be independent actually voice their vote in independence, Ballard's go blow past 10%, and there ain't going to be no convention. And then millions of people who have been shut out by design by the Republicans and Democrats finally get an opportunity to run for public office. That's what everyone should be focused on. And I know Stewart will have fun with me when he comes on later this week. He's not afraid to throw down. We'll have this conversation. I just thought that column, while well written, totally misses the boat on what this is all about. Who gives a damn about what the Lincoln Party convention will look like in a year or 2 years? I hope it's the Lincoln Party primary, and then I can raise $10 million. Somebody will give me $10 million, and we'll be the Lincoln Party nominee for governor. How about that, Mr. Fung? How about that? I'm just kidding. I'm really happy here. I really don't want to have to ever run for public office again. But hopefully good people will. Hopefully good people will run for Senate and governor and Congress and state rep and state senator. That is my great hope for the Lincoln Party, regardless of who I ultimately vote for. All right, let's take our final break. I got to get into Doge, and then producer Jason will be with us for the best YouTube comments of the day. The Doge thing is very sad to me, and I want to talk about it for a few minutes because the charter ended on July 4th. We'll talk about that when we come back. You're listening to Rob Kendall Show.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, realtor with App Properties. I would love to get to know you. I know that buying and selling a home is a really big deal. You need a plan in place so you can succeed. And that's where I come in. If you are buying, let me help you find that perfect home. And if you are selling, let me help you find that perfect buyer. Look, we're all Rob Kendall Show fans here. That's why I'd love to get to know you. I'm Lauren Wilson, realtor with App Properties, an Army veteran and a Hoosier through and through. Call me at 317-590-2290, 317-590-2290.
With a lakefront view in beautiful Brazil, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage is a little out of the way, but totally worth the trip. Down home, made from scratch food, just like the good old days at Grandma's. When you visit the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, you'll leave more at peace than when you came in. Open 5 to 8 for dinner on Friday and Saturday, and Sundays 11 to 1:30 for the buffet. You must experience the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Call 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Hope you're having a great Monday. Thanks for spending it with us. A couple of reminders. Tomorrow's show's going to be great. We're scheduled. This is going to be so much fun. We're scheduled to have Dave the King Wilson is going to be with us. Indie radio legend, comedic genius. You guys have known him for years and years and years. He was part of Bob and Tom. He was on Q95. He was on NDE. He was on WIBC. Oh, man, it's going to be great. I can't wait. We're scheduled to have an interview with Dave the King Wilson. Ed Delaney, state rep, is going to be with us, too. He is livid about that article, came out in the Capitol Chronicle, about Braun taking money from all those other agencies to fund his office. So we got 2 big interviews coming up for you guys tomorrow. If you haven't done so yet, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button. Really helps us grow the program. We can't do it without you guys. We call it like, share, and subscribe. 3 ways that you can help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. All right, before we get to Doge, because Doge is coming to an end, and it's very sad because I don't think it accomplished anything that it set out to accomplish. I want to remind you about our friends at the at the Bramwell Mackay. You got a masonry color mismatch, previous repair catching your eye, not happy with the brick color on your home, and ready for a total makeover? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants offer specialized masonry standing and recoloring, whether you want to seamlessly blend repairs or completely transform your home's exterior. You want to build something new? Bramwell Mackay's 40-year master masons design and construct custom patios, sidewalks, outdoor summer kitchens, archways, entryways, and more. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY.com. Beauty built to endure. All right. Doge. So Doge is coming to an end. Politico had a big article about Doge. The original charter of Doge had it go through July 4th of 2026, which is obviously come and gone. And the article from Politico is really about how Doge failed to live up to most of its promises. Just a reminder, Doge's mission was, quote, a smaller government with more efficiency and less bureaucracy, and it will be a perfect gift to America, President Trump said. So Trump basically said, by July 4th, 2026, you will look back at Doge, and it will be a perfect gift to America because of all the cutting, the slashing of government, the more efficient it's going to make government that it'll do. If you guys remember the, not pledge, but the goal, I guess you'd say, of Doge was to cut $2 trillion from the federal budget. Instead, according to Politico, it got to about $215 billion. Now, $215 billion sounds like a lot of money because it is, right? But it's not when you realize that the average federal government, the yearly budget of the federal government is about $7 trillion annually. So basically, Doge got about 1/35 of the federal government. The Doge cut of $2 trillion was the original goal. The $215 billion came out to about $1,335.40 per taxpayer. So Doge hit about 1/10 of what it promised. It got about 1/35 of the federal budget, and it got $1,335.40 per taxpayer, which again sounds like a lot of money, except the average debt per taxpayer is $114,653. So it got about 1/100th of the debt owed per person. Most of the cuts, according to Politico, came from things like slashing duplicative software licenses, canceling diversity, equity, inclusion grants, as well as ending leases for unused office space. I think the biggest thing about Doge was it made zero structural lasting change. There's nothing about Doge that you look back on and say, my gosh, the federal government changed forever for the better because of Doge. It doesn't mean Doge wasn't a great idea. It doesn't mean Doge couldn't have worked. It means Doge seemed like, and I said this from the beginning, remember people were critical of me. I said, Doge seems more like dinner theater than actual better government. Because remember, and people got very mad at me back on the old radio show, I said the blueprint for Doge has already been done here in the state of Indiana. And it was Mitch Daniels when he first got elected governor. And what Mitch Daniels did was slowly at first, and then it grew with momentum. And look, Mitch Daniels did a lot of things I don't agree with. But one of the things he did was expose a lot of waste in government. And Mitch Daniels was great at slowly at first and then building almost like a snowball of pointing out waste in government. One of the things he did, remember, was he put a penny on the wheels of automobiles, state automobiles. And they took a picture. And then they said, we're going to come back in a month. And every car that has the penny on it, on the tire still, will know isn't being used. And we'll be able to show the people how wasteful government is when it comes to vehicles. And they did that. And they did it on many different things. And Mitch Daniels was able to build momentum on cutting government, on changing government, on reforming government. And he did a very good job at that, especially early on in his governorship. And that didn't happen with Doge. There were all of these big things that they came out of the gate on. And a lot of people said, that's too much too fast. There was no momentum built with Doge. There was no wins built with Doge. They went for all of these big things, and the people kind of recoiled because you weren't showing people how wasteful stuff actually was. You have to get public buy-in on these sort of things. Quote, we have no plans to do kind of a closing Doge report, Budget Director Russ Vogt said at a hearing on Tuesday. We're always happy to give you our assessment of that work. I think it made some really important strides. The fact that they're not doing a report to show to the public, here's all the things we did, means they didn't do very much. I think that's abundantly clear. If they had all of these huge wins, they would have put it out to the masses. The reality is Doge didn't do a fraction of what it promised. Doge didn't cut a fraction of the government it promised. Doge didn't do any meaningful structural reform to the federal government. So yeah, they found some of this stuff, but it'll get replaced. Quote, much of the administrative state is protected by statute, civil service rules, litigation, congressional interest, and entrenched constituencies, Wayne Cruz of the Competitive Enterprise Institute said. Lasting reform requires changing those underlying institutions rather than relying on temporary management initiatives. Bingo, that's exactly what I just said. It's like property taxes, right? When we talked about property taxes earlier in the show. The whole system is broken. The structure of the system, the foundation of the system. Ask our guys at Bramwell Mackay. Foundation, right? It's what they do. If the foundation is broken, the house will not stand effectively, efficiently over the long term. And in the case of Doge, it went after like paint jobs, right? Hey, the house is tipping over. Yeah, but have you seen the paint? It's horrible. We really need to fix that. Have you seen the floors? Man, they're a mess. Yeah, but the house is tipping over. Yeah, but we got to get these floors done first. No, you have to go to the foundation. And Doge didn't fundamentally change the foundation because I think they were more interested in headlines and doing things going, oh, look at what we did, rather than saying, did we fundamentally change the government? Did we create a lasting impact on the government? Quote, Doge never proved its claims of savings or widespread waste, fraud, or abuse, National Treasury Employees Union President Doreen Greenwald said in a statement. It only caused chaos, disrupted lives, and made government work worse for the people it serves. Now, whether it made it better, made it worse, I don't know. But I come back to, you have to have a game plan. You have to have a blueprint for people. You have to have buy-in from people. You have to walk people through the process. You have to explain it step by step. Here's where we're going. Here's what we're doing. Here's why what we're trying to accomplish. I had a conversation, in fact, yesterday with somebody in another medium that is interested in us. And they said, you know, what was your plan when you started? And I laid it out. And I said, we've hit every target of our plan so far. Every goal we've set for ourselves, we are exactly where we wanted to be. And I have a 1-year plan, and I have a 2-year plan, and I have a 5-year plan. Does it mean we'll succeed at all of them? No. Could we fail? Of course. But Jason and I set out targets for ourselves. We set out a plan for ourselves based on things I could do in the moment, and then based on things I could do after the moment. And we have hit all of those targets, and now we're going to hopefully enter the next phase of trying to grow this program. Doesn't mean it'll succeed. We'll be fine if we stay here doing what we're doing. But you have to have something that you go by, some blueprint, some roadmap, something to show the people in the thing, some people to show the government. Here's what we're doing. Show the taxpayers. Here's how we're succeeding. Believe in us. Give us more power. Give us more authority. Give us more autonomy. Because here's what we're doing. And they didn't do that. And so a lot of people were very optimistic about Doge. I think they're going to be sad today. I don't think they... And I'm one of them. I love the idea of cutting the government. I didn't believe they were going about it the right way. I think I was proven correct. And ultimately, Doge will just be another footnote in missed government opportunities. All right. There you go. That's me. No, I have no more live reads. I'm done. I've done all the live reads. It's time for you, buddy. If you're not ready, that ain't on me.
All right. Didn't want to have to sit through a live read.
Producer Jason
pretty face.
joins us now with the best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Jason, the floor is yours.
That is correct, Black Sheep Plumbing. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing can do the job right at a fraction of the cost of the big guys. And Black Sheep Plumbing says thank you to all military, firefighters, and police officers with an American Heroes discount. Owner John McKinney is a Hoosier lifer, takes pride, and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Give John a call or text 765-315-7558, 765-315-7558. Black Sheep Plumbing.
One of the things I forgot to mention, and I do this all the time, and we're getting to the point now where I need to start mentioning it, we're bringing the sports betting show back.
That is correct.
Middle of August.
Yep.
And so Kenny and David are going to be with me. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll hopefully be able to tell you more about that as we get towards the end of July. I know many of you loved the sports betting shows previously a part of. So if you're into college football, college NFL, we're going to have it all for you. Some of the niche sports stuff, too. Hour-long weekly sports betting show. We got some fine sponsors that are going to be a part of that. That's coming your way. Middle of August. We'll be telling you about that soon. But I always forget to mention that.
I have no money to bet.
No.
No.
That's why you're so happy.
That's right. I'm going to spend it on food and junk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, your birthday. Are you gonna come on your birthday to the Rust event?
Well, maybe. I mean, yeah, probably.
It's your birthday. You
I don't know what
want.
else to do. I mean, you know,
well, maybe
that's a long way away from now, too, October 3rd. So, yeah, you know, I mean, I didn't know about the event, so sure, why not?
I mean, you don't have to.
You know, nobody has to bring me any gifts or cash or anything.
But if you want to, you won't turn it down.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, if you want to, yeah, I'll be there with my hand out. But, you know, you don't have to. It's not an obligation. It's not a birthday party for Jason.
Right. So just a reminder, if you missed
Although it could be if you want it to be.
If you missed earlier in the show, save the date, October 3rd. Our old pal John Russ, sponsor of Hour 3.
Right.
He's having a big bash at his palatial estate in Seymour.
Yeah, most people say, like, you can come to the party. You don't have to bring anything, but if you want to look like a loser or not. No, I'm kidding, of course. It's not about me
in
on
addition,
that day.
Jason's birthday, there's going to be patriotic music. It's all about celebrating America's 250th birthday. Patriotic music, antique car show, lunch catered by Double D, so you get a free lunch out of it.
I'm
going to give a little speech about how awesome our country is. Jason's birthday, a whole lot more. Oktoberfest going on down there in Seymour that weekend as well, so you can go to that. John is going to have a way for everybody to RSVP. He would love for as many of you as possible from the Rob Kendall Show to come hang out. Save the date, October the 3rd. That's a Saturday.
There we go. It is a Saturday. Yes, it is. All right. I'll be pushing 50. Man, getting old. All right, MLM Warriors, good afternoon, everybody. That would have been yesterday.
Oh, wow.
I think Sundays it stays in somehow. Doesn't do it the rest of the week. But
no kidding.
Somehow Sunday. And there's a lot of people that responded, replied, and talked and chatted yesterday. And everybody maybe, a little just somewhere to go and have some fun.
Yeah.
All the usuals, Drew, Debbie, Kevin, MLM Warriors. And there we go. The old man. Got in this morning.
Oh, number one.
He was the first one. By the way, yeah, MLM Warriors was the first yesterday. So this morning, though, however, I do believe it was the old man 68. Happy Monday, everyone. I hope everyone had a great weekend and celebrated the greatest country on earth. Now let's get our week started with Rob and producer Jason.
Just a reminder, in order to be a part of the YouTube chat, it's very simple. All you have to do is subscribe to our channel, and then you can be in the chat with hundreds of other very fabulous Rob Kendall Show fans.
Rusted Bolt Garage is going to bring cloud pie. I don't know if that's
to your birthday party.
I don't know if
at
that's
Ruff's
a real
house?
thing or not. Have you ever had a cannoli?
Yeah.
Oh, I had a cannoli for the very first time.
No kidding.
Very first time on Saturday down in Gosport. I just took a drive, take a bunch of photos.
Oh, just for fun?
Yeah, I took my film camera out, took some photos, and there was the old country kitchen cafe.
I wondered what you were doing. I saw you posted about that.
And so I decided to stroll on in, and they had cannolis sitting there, and I kept asking the lady, what's in a cannoli? And I don't know, it's kind of like cheesecake wrapped in. So. And,
from The Godfather, remember?
So I kept asking enough
drop the
about
gun,
it
leave the cannoli.
That as I was getting ready to leave, she gave me my little baggie, and she said, I put your cannoli in there for you. Oh, awesome. So I tipped her well and went out and had the cannoli. And,
was it good?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. You
never had one?
Because, obviously you hear about it on The Sopranos.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Godfather.
Yeah, The Godfather and all that good stuff. So had a cannoli for the first time. So that's
leave the gun, take the cannoli.
That's my weekend story. There we go. Plus, it was Mom's birthday on Friday. And she said, tell everybody thank you for all the birthday wishes.
Oh, yeah. Did you guys do something fun?
We had lunch, food. It was...
it
was fun.
At what age did you stop caring about your birthday?
Oh, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, other people's birthdays I care about. Mine, it's like, whatever.
Yeah. I think about,
how old are you?
Yeah, I got over, teenagers time. I was like, it's like, what? I mean, my theory, I didn't do any work. Why are people celebrating me? The mom did all the work.
There we go. Happy Rob birthday, Mom. All right, Drew, groovy bumper music. This would have been during the 10
prelude.
prelude. Good
Yeah.
bumper, groovy bumper music. There
Yes.
we go. Charles Ludy, good day, Rubbleheads. Hope you all had an amazing 4th weekend and kept all your digits. Yes, it is.
You never struck me as a fireworks
No,
guy.
I think that's, well, I won't go into all that, but no, never was I just never saw the appeal, understood the waste of money and, oh, boom. Oh, that was pretty awesome.
It was great for me. My wife and kid slept through the fireworks.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So I watched it on the patio by myself.
Well, you obviously don't have redneck neighbors right next door to you blowing off cannons. All right, even last night. And they get to do it all week. It's like all this week, 2 hours after sunset, they still get to do it. I don't understand that.
I've always been very blessed. My kid sleeps through the fireworks. My dog, when I had Bruce, he slept through
Bruce
those fireworks.
until it was time to eat.
Yeah, so it's like I've never had a dog or a kid that like freaks out about the fireworks.
All right. Steve Green with an E. Good morning, all. Hope everyone is starting the week off with all their fingers. I think most of our listening audience probably has most of their fingers remaining. Although there was some news reports, some people did get their digits blown off.
That's wild, isn't it?
The Indianapolis Watch on Facebook. There's always somebody that doesn't follow directions. All right. Kenneth E. Gold, good morning, y'all. Hope everyone had a great Independence Day. Tow trucking today, but I will be listening. All right. Hopefully, those poor people that need a tow truck.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to keep Kenneth in business,
Gold.
but the poor people with the needs a tow truck. Debbie Holcomb, hey guys, listening while working on Medicaid appeals. She has a hell of a time trying.
It's brutal.
And those people that don't work get all that money. Rusted Bolt Garage. Ugh, Debbie, pulling your hair out yet? Yeah, she's used to it.
Who would look
now.
at Michael and be like, I don't think he's disabled?
He doesn't need any help. It's crazy. We love Michael. C. Mills, good morning, all. I'm off work today. Got an eye doctor appointment and regular doctor appointment. Jake, D3D5B responds at C. Mills. Eye appointment for fireworks accident? All right, C. Mills. No fireworks for me. Just my annual checkup for insurance. All right. Mad Duck back in. She had some unfortunate situations with some of her animals.
Welcome back.
Mad Duck is an animal person, animal lover, and she's got a lot of animals and had some issues last week. So she's still not real thrilled. So we're sorry for you, Mad Duck. Hope everything. Well, we know that's tough. Suffering some losses. She says, I will be fine. I have suffered 2 huge losses, and my heartbreak won't let up for a while yet.
No.
Yeah,
That's bad. Well, glad you're back. Hope you're doing better.
Yep. Shrog Sandwich headed back to Indy from a new Carlisle, South Bend, Middlebury visit. I'll comment at the lights. The stoplights. Just don't be the first one and you're on your phone and the light turns green.
Yeah.
You'll get that honk horn. All right. MLM Warriors. Rob looks very nice today in his peach-colored shirt.
Thank you.
It does help me with the lighting. We don't have to have as much lighting when you wear lighter shirts.
My mom did the shirts over the weekend.
Yep. Great job, Mom.
And I got to thank my parents. The toddler tyrant is off daycare Friday and then all this week. So the
She's probably
grandparents
just blasting around the house right now.
I can't even imagine. And I gave her a granola bar and a Rice Krispie treat before my parents got there.
A spoonful of sugar.
Good luck.
Helps Grandpa have a great time.
So I took off Friday, and then the grandparents have her most of the week. So, thanks to my parents.
Rusted Bolt Garage. Anybody else have withdrawals from no Friday show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
That's what they say. Real Cowboy Chris, good morning from Fort Wayne. I hope everyone had a great time celebrating America. We spent the weekend in Brownsburg and made our way to Double D's.
Oh, who was that?
That was Real Cowboy Chris.
Okay, excellent.
It was a great experience. He's all the way from Fort Wayne to
awesome.
Double D's.
Awesome.
There we go. You got to get something out of going to Brownsburg. Also says, oh, wow, okay, well, this took a turn. Real Cowboy Chris adds, our 6-year-old daughter is having surgery this morning. Any prayers would be appreciated.
Oh, yeah, right.
We certainly hope that all works out, and hate to see that poor little 6-year-old. The redneck Republican, the Indiana GOP is always trying to find a new way to tax us.
Yeah, they are.
Yep. C. Mills.
That was in regards to Abdul's column about the plan to get rid of property taxes and how many other taxes it would raise.
C. Mills. Jason shares a birthday with my mom.
Oh.
There we go. Another Libra.
How exciting.
Libra? Is that what it is? Yeah, Libra. The Redneck Republican. I've been to John Rust Oktoberfest a couple of times.
Oh.
It's always been a lovely event.
I bet Russ' house is very nice. I'm excited to see it.
Well, just I could live in the bus.
Yeah.
I mean, that bus is pretty awesome.
And
he's got a train. Have you seen the train locomotive?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I could live in that. Russ, how much you rent that out for?
There's going to be Patriot. So October 3rd, Russ is opening his house up to all the Rob Kendall Show fans. We'll have a way to RSVP later this week. And he'd love for you to come. There's, as we said, going to be music and all the great stuff. I'm going to give a little speech. Jason's birthday. Mm-hmm. Isn't that awesome that's what he's like? I'd just like to open my house up to you people.
That's pretty
I don't open my house up to anyone.
Want to get down there and see his media. He said he's got a studio, like not a recording studio, but a radio studio, something like that.
Oh.
Need to get out and see that. Rusted Bolt Garage, a birthday present for producer Jason, ... That's not necessary. LD Stoltz, here's $1 million in life advice. Life's a garden. You have to dig it. Yeah. Very good. You're welcome, he said.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, that's a good one. Mad Duck, yeah, I either commented or emojied on Mike Young's BS that you shared, and right after I had a notice that Mike wanted to send me a message. She says, I have a message for him. Isn't that weird when you emoji somebody, like you just hit like or you hit laughter, like the laugh. I always hit the laughter one. And then they want to message you. It's like, we don't need to discuss it. I think it's pretty obvious what I meant is you're an idiot. Case closed. No need for a message, Mike.
Yeah, and several people have sent me messages that they've had with Mike Young over the years, and wow, the fact that guy is in charge of our state, that is scary.
Yes, it is. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, talking about the you had your conversation there with WJOB.
Chuck Pullen.
Yep.
Voice of WJOB.
Baby fish mouth. The Grand Kankakee Marsh was so large it was referred to as the Everglades of the North.
Wow.
Before they ruined it, destroyed it, and toxic chemicaled it.
My favorite part of that interview with Chuck, which I'll post it up here once we get off the air, is that he said that he thinks that site the Bears are looking at is where Capone used to dump bodies.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Man, imagine what they could find there.
That's where the Bears are thinking about moving.
That's where, yeah. Okay. Steve Green with an E. I'm wondering if this is some big business being this so they don't have to pay to clean up the toxic site.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I totally butchered that, but
I see what he's saying.
That's what he's saying. Yeah, is this just a way to for taxpayers to have to clean up after the industrial contaminations up there? Okay, Charles Ludy. You have to factor in that these facilities sit vacant most of the year, unlike civic centers and entertainment venues. There is no guaranteed net economic growth, and local businesses take a net loss. Yeah, because like Rob pointed out last week, they're probably going to build up all around that little stadium, and that's great for everybody coming in and being able to take advantage of all that, but they're not driving into downtown Hammond probably afterwards and eating after they've been to the game and eating before the game. And okay, it's been 4 hours. Now let's go take a tour of Hammond.
Yeah,
not happening.
And Jace will back me up with this because you covered music for years. It's one thing to say, like, you're going on a tour and the guy's going to play Gainbridge, then he might also play the United Center in Chicago.
Right.
But if you're playing Lucas Oil, you're doing stadium shows like Taylor Swift. What'd she do?
Right.
She did 3 stadium shows. So they were pulling people from Louisville, from Chicago, from Iowa, from all these places, right? So if you're saying, like, most artists aren't big enough that they can do back-to-back stadium shows in the same state. So if you're going to start doing stadium shows up in Northwest Indiana, then you're pulling from Indianapolis. Like, they're not going to do back-to-back stadium shows.
And Rob knows what he's talking about because how many Taylor Swift concerts have you been to?
A lot.
Yeah. People.
I also been to a U2 concert.
He knows all the words. You were singing along, yelling out, getting sweaty. Tay-tay.
By the way,
take me away.
Saturday was the 11-year anniversary of the Rolling Stones playing at the Motor Speedway.
Oh, yeah.
That was an awesome concert. I know you went and saw the Stones at the Dome,
the
right?
Hoosier Dome. It was the worst concert I've ever been to.
That day at the track was awesome, man. I wish they'd do that again. That was so much fun. That was great. It was hot as hell, but, man, that was fun.
All right. In the interview with Mr.
Chuck.
J.O.B.,
Yeah.
Drew says, "Nice shirt, Rob."
Thank you.
Because it was the Rob Kendall Show
that
shirt.
C-Mills made for us.
Yeah, C-Mills made those. Right, right. The old man 68. The Bears are to Indiana what pole dancers are to men in strip clubs. Bears are to Indiana what pole dancers. Oh, meaning they love me. I think she's in love with me.
Did you ever? Okay. Question.
The old man pulling that one out.
Most of the guys that came into the club,
right?
Did they know what they were doing, or like did they actually think the girls were into
them? You get the bachelor parties of the guys that have never been to a club before,
Right.
and those are the ones I always had to stand over and watch. And but then most guys were coming in; they knew what they were doing.
So I mean, they knew the girl wasn't really into them.
Yeah. And but I mean, they would, a lot of them would come in just to make friends with the girls and stuff, and then they'd be like, okay, I got to go get this sucker over here. I'll be back.
Oh, so like there were the people, they were in on it.
Yeah, there were the regulars, and then the guys with the drugs and all that, and the shoe boxes of money.
Right.
And like one dude used to bring in he'd have his driver behind it. He'd bring in a shoe box full of cash. I used to love seeing that dude come in. He'd walk by the DJ booth and just play me some Metallica and throw me a stack. I'd flip through it. It wasn't like just ones. I'd flip through it. There'd be some 5s, 10s, 20s in there. It's like whatever you want to hear all night.
What did he do?
Well, he ended up going to prison.
So are you saying those were ill-gotten gains?
I can't talk too much more because people would be like, I know who he's talking about. But no,
they were ill-gotten gains?
He was a great guy. He was a really nice guy.
Yeah,
he's out now. He's out now.
He served his time.
Glad he is because he was a good dude. All right, very generous man. Okay, here we go. We got that. Let's see, more pole dancing, more stripper stuff. A lot of stripper talk today in the chat. Okay, Drew, we've got all American dog fence.
Yeah.
Do the dog fences work for toddlers?
Oh, yeah, I think they would.
Asking for a friend, he says.
I think they would frown on you strapping a invisible collar around the small child, Drew.
So it takes you have to have the collar.
Yeah. It's like hooked up to the thing, right?
Well, that's all right. Rusted Bolt Garage. Drew, I'm sure they would, but you might get in trouble. Bob Swarm, they most certainly do. But it's the neighbors calling CPS that creates the problem.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly. That's why you need to call. I'll tell you what. Here's what you guys need to do to get the info. You need to call All American Dog Fence to find out exactly
not for
how
your
they
child.
Do it. It's not for the kid. They'll tell you everything about how they do all of it. 317-862-6606. 317-862-6606. All American Dog Fence.
All right. Okay, I was just checking here. Almond Joy Tempo. Morning, y'all. I'm about to go run errands. Might be another reason to go noon to 3. People got to get their errands run. We're going to have some comments about that here as well. Rob, you have babysitting duties. Please don't cuss. Okay, you have babysitting duties because she has the audio on for her dog. Please don't cuss in front of my dog. Don't do it in Spanish either. She's bilingual. I'll be back a little before noon. So apparently we are entertaining her dog, and so he's so familiar with your voice.
Who was that?
That was Almond Joy Tempo.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I don't think I cussed today.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
That's
Rob
is forbidden anymore.
I'm trying to be very cognizant.
He's got to get prepared for the future.
Yeah,
and we can't be
like,
doing
I don't think
public airwaves. Robert Schwartz, as someone that is 71 years of age, firmly believe those of my age should step aside, and we're talking about your buddy Mike.
Yeah.
With very few exceptions, our time has passed. For better or worse, it's time for the younger generation.
Yeah, and I don't even so much care about age. Like Ballard's 71 or 70.
Yeah, there's a lot of cognizant people. I mean, it doesn't.
My beef with Young is that he's been there since the Earth was young.
This guy has some issues.
40 years. Yeah, 40 guy's been there 40 years. It's not the age; it's the time he's been in the office.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We need 25 more likes to get to 200.
Oh, we can do that. I think if you haven't done so yet, really helps us out.
Hit that like button.
Yeah.
All right. So Rob threw out a floater. Perhaps noon to 3.
Maybe.
We nothing that we've got options. People talking to us, people internet only, people on the radio, and we're like, well, we're flexible. We just picked 9 to noon because that was your time, and we've totally demolished the not really competition, but whatever. We've hurt some ratings because of that. Let's say would be fun to do it some other time slots, but that would not be our motivation.
We want to do what's best for you guys,
right? Plus a potential, outlet may this time may not work or whatever. So we're like, Well, is that something that we might have to consider? And so we got some feedback on that. LD Stoltz, I could go for noon to 3. Mad Duck, I like noon to 3. John M, 9848. Rob, do what's best for you. Redneck Republican, noon to 3 would definitely be easier for me. Joseph Norris, no on 12 to 3.
Oh, no. Can't let Joseph down.
Joseph comes back in later
on.
Oh, okay.
I
think he's somebody persuaded him otherwise. Steve Green with an E. It would be better for me outside chores in the morning when it's cooler, inside, and listening when it's hot. Drain it all. Big no on noon to 3.
Oh.
So technically we've got 2 no noon to 3s. And Mad Duck, just go 9 to 3. 6 hours is totally ridiculous. No competent manager would put somebody on for 6 hours a day. That would be suicide. Your ratings would plummet. And
here's one thing about going noon to 3 that would help. It would actually help the show. The interviews would be more timely because we could do them before the show. Like we could record the interviews before the show and play them on the show versus like a
Rob's
day.
shirts would match.
My shirts would match.
There we go. MLM Warriors.
It would also let me sleep in longer.
MLM Warriors. I might listen noon to 3. I don't listen to, we're going to say, the radio show from noon to 3. I would be okay. So they would listen because they don't listen to other people at noon to 3. Charles Ludi, just my 2 cents, but I would love if you guys did an evening show.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's where they stick people nobody wants to hear.
Oh,
Tony Jones, voiceover. I'm a little behind. A noon to 3 would affect my listening or would not affect my listening that much. There'd be times I'd probably have to listen in the next morning on Spotify, though. And that's why we have Spotify and Apple and iHeart that you can
that's what I
listen
wouldn't
to.
want to disrupt because then we would be done at 3 versus noon. So how many people listen in that
Right.
noon
How many
to 3
people
window?
can't listen 9 to noon that could listen noon to 3?
Right.
We don't know.
Right.
Victor Carr, 8 to 11 a.m. would be great hours.
No, that was not an option.
Moving earlier. We're not moving earlier. No, because my vote is like, man, this 6 o'clock's awful damn early in the morning for somebody who's never used to getting up.
Yeah.
I'm used to it now, but I could change that habit real quick. It wouldn't bother me, but hey,
everything we do is for
here.
Jason around here.
Well, I was just going to say it's for the listener, but you nailed it. The captain. My vote is to keep your time the same as it is now. It has nothing to do with that other guy. It's simply because I won't be able to listen in the afternoon. Dang it. Okay, Joseph Norris.
I love that when the people chime in against it, you're like, damn.
Joseph Norris. Well, I'm not trying to sway anybody. Joseph Norris has come back and apparently changed his vote.
Uh-oh.
Well, when you frame it in the light of stealing from the other guy on the radio.
We're not stealing from anyone.
That's irrelevant to us, absolutely. Then I change my no to a yes.
We would be doing this because, again, variety of reasons.
We don't want other people dictate what we do.
One scheduling, it might make it easier. The serious thing is the interviews would be easier to do before. They'd be timely. 2 is it would center around whatever other mediums we may end up at or not end up at. And that potentially could be an effect. And we're just trying to get your guys' opinion. If we did these things, would it disrupt what you are doing? We don't want to make anybody who currently listens to us not be able to listen to us. So we're just putting it out there before we get too far along on anything about where we go and what we do.
Right. Cheryl Curry, 9 to noon. User BD2UZ7KC8V.
That's a screen name.
I missed the dash in there. 5 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. That's my work shift. LOL.
Perfect.
Let's see. Steve Green with an E. There's not much left to steal from noon to 3. That's not why we'd be doing it, because we have interest in the northern part of the state. We have interest in the southern part of the state. So there's a lot going on. A lot of other.
And they're in different time zones.
But you people are the.
Here's the thing.
You're
Why
the core.
is Indiana
you are the
different
listening
time
core.
zones? It's very hard to keep track of everything.
Oh, that's true.
Especially for this stuff because of the time change.
Right. Okay. We move on. So it looks like it was a majority noon to 3, but a couple people can't quite. I know I've heard from other people. It's like, I get my shopping and all that done and my chores, my house cleaning and things done. And they're used to rush from noon to 3.
Right.
That was their clock. Their inner clock is still set to limbo time. and most people have not gotten over that yet. And I think that's why noon to 3 is just like that's my time. That's my political time.
All right. Well, it's a good conversation. We'll put it in our pocket, and
Are you trying to rush me? No, we still got time.
Okay. About 3 minutes.
Okay. Well, then we'll use that very, very appropriately for John Russ.
Oh, excellent.
Yes, John. Sue Seifert. John Russ, thank you. Drew, thank you, John Rust. Can't wait till October 3rd. Everybody's waiting for my birthday.
It's my birthday.
And Drew points out it's picnic basket when you're talking about the our buddy Andy who delivers the picnic basket every morning to
you stay at the cottage,
breakfast.
Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage.
Yes, John and Andy. All right, Tina Duncan. October 3rd is my birthday too.
Oh,
well,
Tina Duncan, double D's. She'll be catering John Russ' event on her birthday.
Oh, that is awesome. All right. Okay, Charles Luty just makes a point. If the name Rob Kendall alone is a trigger for these lifetime politicians, chances are Rob is doing something right.
That's right.
Talking about his buddy Mike.
Now, you think Young's going to man up and come in here?
No.
Really?
No. You know, he was sweating all morning. That's why you kept delaying that.
Well, he blocked me. It's like you put it out there. What are you doing?
More heart medication, probably. Let's see. What else do we have here? Okay. We've got more, but let's see. The Bob Swarm All-American Dog Fence, previously Indiana Dog Fence. Great company, great product.
Oh, excellent.
All-American Dog Fence. The other thing, Dave the King Wilson is going to be on the show tomorrow. I had told the story at the live show about when I first got into radio. It was with because of Bill Shirk, who sold me time on WXLW.
Yeah.
And then we had a little legal hassle after that, but that's irrelevant. I won't go into that again. But I had forgotten. That is not 100% correct. The very first time I was on radio was with Dave the King Wilson. He was on WNDE. It was after he had a show after Rush.
Yeah.
And I had the Indianapolis Entertainer magazine at the time, which was more of it was an entertainment magazine for downtown. And I'd put Dave on the cover of that, did an interview with him, put him on the cover. He's like, why don't you come on in? We'll talk about it. And I came in for a show, and he's like, after we were done, he's like, well, you're not too bad. You want to come in every week, and we can just kind of you can do the entertainment recap or whatever. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I did that for a few weeks, and then, I was like, well, hell, I'll just do my own show. And that's when I went to Bill Shirk. But it was Dave the King Wilson, and I remember being scared to death. A lot of people that come in here look very calm, but a lot of people are very nervous when they come in here.
Right.
It's impossible not to be if you're not used to being on a microphone. And I remember sweating bullets. I thought I did awful. He's like, you're great. Just come on back in next week. We'll do it again. And so that was thanks to Dave the King Wilson.
There you go.
He would have probably doesn't even remember me. But
we'll find out.
We'll find out when he rolls in.
Yep.
There we go. All right. So we'll leave it with that, Rob. And this chat brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Give them a call. Oh, John McKinney, 765-315-7558. I myself keep forgetting to call him because I need some toiletries done. That's not what you would call that. Need some toilet work done. I need a couple faucets installed, and I'm not laying on my back underneath the sink doing that stuff anymore. 50 years old. I'm just too old to do that sort of thing. So, so I'm going to have John do it for me.
Awesome.
All right. That'll do it for me. We'll see you tomorrow. So long, everybody.
You guys have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you so much for being with us. As always, if you haven't done so yet, please hit that little thumbs up button. Like the show before you go. Helps us grow the program. You guys have an awesome rest of your day. We will see you right back here tomorrow, 9 until noon. Until further notice, it's the Rob Kendall Show. Producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You've been listening to Rob Kendall Show.